Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Fight Night Rising. This is patch 11.20, the last of set 5.5. My name is Khroen, and joining me is Boop. Boop, we're on the downswing of set 5.5. How you feeling tonight going into this one?
I'm feeling pretty good. We got a special someone coming back who was unable to come back last
True.
week. We got a pretty cool lobby with some common quails and some burgers, I believe, as well. So it should be a good group of good group of people from all walks of life.
Very, very true. Some crispy burgers. And, let's just go ahead and introduce the players that we have in our lobby. We have our top three from last week. A common quail who was indeed the victor. How many bird jokes can Boop come up with this week? Let's start a count. Just keep it up on the stream the whole time now. But we also have Elmond and Trickster going to be coming back as well. And Frodan making his return. Did not compete last week, of course, was preparation for Worlds broadcast, but is back to grace us with his presence. He did start off with a first a couple weeks ago. See if he's able to be a bit more consistent this time around to get the victory. We also have Yunyuki, Crispy Burger, Jukyu, and Jedi Mind Tricks. And I have to say, I am biased towards Jedi Mind Tricks. I hope they're able to do some good stuff and maybe win out some games this week, because I do love me some Jedi Mind Tricks.
That makes complete sense. Actually, that I believe you. Let's keep going.
Let's keep on going.
Correct.
We got surprising as well. Correct. That's just, we're gonna leave it there.
Yeah.
Correct. Prize pool: $100. First place, second place, $50. Third and fourth place, $25. Top three invited back for next week of competition. Boop. Mentioned it slightly. This is gonna be the last patch of set 5.5. A lot of changes happen. We're gonna have a new, armory, Radiant Armory at 5-1. People get a couple of different options now, and that's gonna make, the power levels for carries or tanks just all that much more powerful. We have a bunch of changes to compositions as well, like, Kled and some reroll compositions got nerfed. And there was a lot of discourse around the Kled composition around Worlds, but it didn't even perform like that insane. It still was like good, of course, but people getting up in arms about a lot of stuff in TFT. That is just what happens, but maybe we'll see a bit less of that here this week.
Fight Night always has its own little meta, right?
Yeah.
There is, one lobby, it's Karma Vel'Koz, another lobby, it's Aphelios, and for some reason they both get second, third. So weird. But no, the biggest thing that I'm actually really excited about is seeing how people utilize some of these opportunities that present themselves more often, right? You're going to get a second Radiant item. That's very powerful.
Yes.
And what that means is that I think the idea is that it empowers a bunch of different synergies so that you can reach a little bit deeper in some of them, and some of these really long comps that require perfect itemization and stuff might get a little bit of help with some of these double Radiant items. And, of course, double Radiant Thieves Gloves is on the table. I think of really good ones like Abomination. But yeah, everything's kind of on the table right now in terms of what can be viable, depending on what the more God gives you on some of these item rounds at this point.
Yeah, or some of the units as well. We already see a common quail open up with some potential Hellions here. Some potential Draconic starts for a couple of players as well. A common quail doing fantastic job at scouting around. I'm actually so not used to seeing players scout now, because the Worlds broadcast was with a spectator client, and while it's like a great start and stuff, we didn't have people like scouting anyone, so it was just weird. It's just, I'm nice. It's nice to be back here where it's, what we're used to, what we're comfortable with when it comes to some TFT spectating.
No different from my own personal games, though, Khroen.
True.
I spend most of my time looking at my board because I'm making up little stories about my units. How do they know each other? Like, how do Kled and Brand know each other? How did they get here next to each other on this bench?
Yeah,
right?
I mean, that's crazy.
There's got to be a story there.
Yeah, if you think about just like the Riot universe, like there's probably no way they've ever seen each other actually. Like in
exactly.
canon lore.
Yeah,
they're here now, but like
you're
why?
on fire. You're riding a Scarl. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, create your own fic for how they met each other.
That's dangerous. All right,
yeah,
so
dangerous.
A common quail now looking at some attack speed or potential AP. We also have a Reforger. So the Reforger is a little interesting now because there are a lot more opportunities and a lot more things to reforge. So we'll see what happens, especially if like tomes get thrown up into the game. Then a lot of shenaniganery with itemization can happen. It can almost feel overwhelming at times.
Yeah. Definitely can be overwhelming. A lot of choices that players are even presented with right now. And speaking of those choices, a lot of players are leveling up to for. Oh yeah, we get to see players pop up on each other's boards with their scouting and stuff. That is a thing that that happens now. Oh man, that's gonna be fun. Everyone's gonna be on the player's board who gets the stimmy, 40 HP. This is everyone just flocking there. Eye
You know,
emojis.
it's funny because a lot of people are like, oh, it's gonna be congestive, or yeah, we'll go
Yeah.
with that on
Okay.
the board. The board will be congested,
Yes.
and what's really interesting about that actually is all you have to do is, instead of focusing on the fact that there's so much on the board, focus on the fact that everyone is there, right? Because that means that that round is important. So if you're trying to get back into TFT, or if this is some of the first play, you watch Worlds and you're like, oh, this is awesome, I want to watch some more. This is, I think, where that would lead you, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, 100%. Definitely. And oh yeah, it's also, I think been confirmed that Riot and Mortdog and all of them are okay with people using like in-game add-ons for matchup tracking, so you can know like what the next 3 matchups you're gonna face are. And so I think we see a little bit of that overlay from Frodan here as well, utilizing it and hitting a Nautilus 2 super early as well. Wow. Gonna be nice to pair along with the Poppy and the Nautilus upgrades. A couple Hellions, a couple Knights, no item
Hmm.
slams yet here. But does actually go for a Rage Blade on the Kha'Zix. Not going to be an item that stays there, but is going to be good for now. That is an Ash 2 on the other side for you and Yuki. It does get taken out by the Kha'Zix, but wow, Ash 2 at 2-2?
222. Ash 2 is
2-2-2.
we've seen Ash 3 take lobbies pretty easily, actually. 2 weeks
True.
ago it won 2 lobbies with Giant Slayer Rage Blade, so we know it's something that is viable. And Draconic is kind of nuts right now. Talk about item shenaniganery, right? You can move into Draconic, you can get into Draconic 5, actually invest some power into it, and then start transitioning. So there's been a lot of videos online. A buddy of mine did a Volibear 3 the other day through some draconic help with Nikos and stuff like that. So that's the other thing I'm actually kind of excited about, is a possible tier 3 5 cost unit if all things go according to plan for that player.
Yeah. According to plan. I mean, Rodan's going to be keeping his options open for the plan of Abomination. Because there's Nunu, Callista, and Brand on the bench. That is A-Bomb. But the units on the board are perhaps a bit too powerful. And it's always, you want to consider what I want to put on my board that actually makes me stronger versus, going for that transition a bit too quickly and making yourself weaker. I think we talk about that almost every week. And Froden, I think, making a very intelligent recognition of what he might want to transition into eventually, but right now it's not going to be stronger than what he has on the board.
Hmm. And keeping your pivot secret for a little bit, right, is advantageous. So a lot of people have very obvious pivots. Some people force certain team comps. But if you're able to keep information from other people, that's one of the few times where you're actually functioning with more information than everyone else, right? Is the destination, but the other players might not, because it could technically fork into 2 different ways, right?
Yeah.
So now that we're seeing like the Rage Blade, for example, especially with the tier, that's so many different things at this point. And so looking at that, no one can say, okay, Frodan's going to play this. This is what I'm going to do. I know I'm going to be better than Frodan, because no one knows what Frodan's playing right now, other than someone with a Rage Blade.
Yep, definitely. Which is pretty flexible, right? You're maybe not going to go something like a Vel'Koz or a Karma, but you still can go like an AP tree if you land on like a Heimerdinger later on into the game. And Trickster, wow, actually pre-leveled to get a Jax in the shop. That is the strength of pre-leveling. It makes level 5, or makes your next shop, at that level 5 level, only 2% chance, but gets rewarded for it. Now this is going to be a Deathblade Jax with 3 Skirm buff at just 2-5.
Uh, Units that benefit from 2 radiant items, Jax.
Oh yeah.
So Jax is, when I heard the patch, right, there are certain comps that I think came to mind. They're like, oh, this is what they need to kind of get back into the game, or even control the game. And Jax is one of those units. We just saw how dominant that was with a Deathblade. It was only 2 auto attacks for some of the units. We're very far ahead right now. This will probably be at 100 HP for 4 to 5 rounds.
Yeah.
At least.
A couple other strong boards. Another one is Frodan's board. He's only other 100 HP win streaker, but it definitely seems like Trickster's board is a bit stronger. It could come down to positioning. Khroen now does have a Rel in there, so both players actually benefiting from those ironclad 4 costs. Trickster is, mainly scouting Khroen, actually, so that's where, the priority is. And does not run into Khroen, runs instead into Jedi Mind Tricks, who does not have a very strong early board. This should definitely be a 5 streak into the Krogs.
I still can't get over how good of a Jedi you would be. Anyway, like you'd be so good at it, in like the most serious way possible. But yeah, this Jax looking good, no problem. Once again, that Deathblade is going to be really nice. You don't need any more stats for Jax right now. The attack speed's ingrained. You don't quite need the lifesteal because no one's going to be really competing to kill you at this point in time. Maybe around like 3-3, 3-4, we'll start seeing some challenges to that Jax as other 4 costs appear.
On board with Yuki, scouting out all the rest of the players. Oh wow, and Aphelios already Elmon's level 6 on Krugs? Holy moly, you very rarely see that one. I think it did happen like one time in World. Someone, I believe it might have been Esha, who leveled to 6 on stage 2. But besides that, I haven't really seen that since like set 1. I think a name of Firestone comes to mind.
Whoa.
Anyone remembers that one? Yeah. Firestone used to do that. Just level up so just like insanely aggressively. It was really crazy.
So Uniyuki now is still looking at this Draconic. I'm so excited to see some Draconic play right now because, again, this is where you're going to get if you're going to see a tier 3-5 cost, it's going to be on a Draconic comp unless you should literally be betting your money currently at the moment. That's how hard it is to do it naturally.
Yeah.
So hopefully the Draconic player gets some Nico's help. We're pretty strong right now. Even though we're at 78 HP, the top 3 are completely demolishing the rest of the lobby right now. So 78 is actually not that bad for where we're at.
Definitely. Going to Jedi Mind Tricks, I mean, this is going to be a board that Yuki is probably favored. The Ashe has been tier 2'd for basically a whole stage at this point. Now has a Rage Blade and a Runeans, a couple more Ashe ults, a couple more auto attacks. That will be Yuki going up to a 3 streak. And Jedi Mind Tricks is a bit of a lost streak, but does have a lot of money. 50 plus gold right there. Going to be leveling level 6 next round, I would imagine. And maybe rolling it down. There's definitely an argument a lot of the time recently for rolling pretty aggressively at 3-2 to find a stable board. And Jedi Mind Tricks is going to do that, has rolled once, has a couple of options. Abomination is now potentially there. And yeah, with a pair of Nunus, definitely wants to fit this in somehow. Callista could go in over the Gragas, would still maintain the Brawler buff. What's they're gonna do though? Oh, okay.
Jedi Mind Tricks and I 100% wearing the same hat right now.
Oh yeah.
It's from H&M. It's a great hat. I believe. Anyway, looking at this board, like you might assume that we're on the struggle bus, and maybe we're getting there. But right now, the Ziggs in the back is going to be taking down some units. So the reason why we're not necessarily getting bottomed out right now is this has been happening, right? We're actually going to win potentially this one. Nope. But we're losing by 1 or 2 units at most, which is why 64 or 60 HP, which is where we're going to be, is actually going to develop a little bit of a lead to a common quail, right? So all of these single unit kills are probably going to come into play once we reach like 5-5.
Oh, and Jedi Mind Tricks is actually going for the A-bomb now, is going to say 4 Brawlers is not worth it. 4 Brawlers is super strong in stage 2 and early stage 3, but does want the A-bomb in, and even just a Kled too, even though the Kled's not carrying any items, which he is good at doing. It is going to give the Sejuani cav buff, so just flat 20% DR. Pretty good for 2 units. A-bomb coming out there, has a Sunfire as well, going up against Khroen, who is no longer 100 HP. But Jedi Mind Tricks might not be strong enough still to deal with that, because that's an almost 3-item Callista for Khroen.
So let's talk about calves real quick. So we got the calf splash in. You said, the 20% damage reduction. So when you're positioning calves, what are you thinking about in terms of we put the Sejuani in the back line versus Kled in the front line, right? Where's your kind of strategery coming with your Cavaliers?
I mean, yeah, so Kled is going to take a bunch of damage, then dismount, which, the aggro does reset. Kled gets some more buffs, attacks a lot faster when he's dismounted. It's not going to be that big of a deal, but it does give Sejuani some time to, claim aggro second, build up some mana, and then get her stun out. And that's might be the difference between 1 or 2 unit kills, probably just 1 in most scenarios, if any. But as we see a lot of the times, 2 HP is enough to be warranted to preserve, right? There's some players that will have a placement or 2 difference just based off of 2 HP. So I do like that positioning from Jedi Mind Tricks there as you move over to 3-5. Some players level to 7. See if Crispy Burger is looking to do that. Not quite, but is still running Draconic. A lot of Draconic eggs on the board, and a Karma in as well. Potential Karma pivot is there. Already have the Shojins, which isn't, best in slot for Karma, but it is going to be a decent item. She still can use it.
Yeah, and Crispy Burger has, I think, some really good opportunity continuing this direction, seeing what they have on their bench as well. So she's going to, I think, feel pretty good about their position. 78 HP, solidly in 4th place at this point in time. We can actually take this a little slow, but a Common Quail going to do the the Stimmy Scout potentially if we do get to 40 HP. And there are a lot of people who say that, getting it during your Radiant round or the round before is exactly where you want it, because then you get to use it longer than everyone else. Yeah, you're giving other people some information, but I think from our observations here, the first person to get this Stimmy usually does come back and competes for that top 4, even the win.
Yep. Okay, so a couple people scout the Stimmy there, and it was just a bunch of gold, and now a Frozen Heart of gold. That Frozen Heart going to be really, really great at dealing with any attack damage or auto attack focused carries. Oh man, Shojin's Jewel Gauntlet as well. And there already was a Rage Blade. Talk about the fact that, Rage Blade's not really that good for Vel'Koz, but it could maybe find use elsewhere. There is just nothing to carry it at the moment. Fiddlesticks is a great user of this Frozen Heart of Gold. It gives a ton of mana, allows Fiddle to ulti very quickly, and actually get in the clump of enemy units. Does not have any Revenants right now, though, which is the big kind of big deal for Fiddle, as he won't be able to, res and not able to get that much value.
I mean, he's lucky that he even got an ult off at that point. But this is where the real power is. It's that Radiant Frozen Heart, which completely neuters attack speed and is probably the reason why we win that round, right?
Definitely.
Not probably, it is. Because it's not just attack speed, right? When you have slower attack speed, what also charges up slowly is your ultimate. So you're keeping everyone safer by using the Frozen Heart on units in the back line.
100% is going to now have Revenant on the field. Ivern, great unit for frontline. Of course, summons Daisy and makes Fiddlesticks a bit more tankier. Trickster's still on 100 HP, still running that, early Jax. And we might see Skirm have a bit of staying power. Haven't really seen 6 Skirm in a while, but definitely a few 3 Skirm boards that pivot to something like 4 Knights, or perhaps a bunch of Mystics or Ironclads, depending on the lobby. More defensive items.
Who needs Radiant items? All right, so Elmon, who leveled up really early, I think, on Krugs, now is running the Ziggs. Elmon really does like running AP comps. I think we've pretty much strictly have only seen Elmon run AP comps, and this is very clearly going that direction. Yeah, exactly. And this can be a very good Karma itemization. You get the early ult with the blue buff. Giantslayer, I've always loved as an item. And the other thing I really like about this board too is that Cavalier Kennen in the front line, which is going to make his dash more predictable for you. So you're going to be able to pick which corner is going to be the furthest away for the Kennen to stun.
Yeah, Kennen positioning is actually one of the more fascinating ones to kind of predict or try to predict. And I mean, that one isn't going to be great because he was positioned on the left side. He's going to then, ult to the right hand side and not go towards the Aphelios. And that's, he does get the little Cavalier dash off, but it's not going to be enough. Even with the Hellions coming back from the portal, Elmon is going to continue on that 3 loss streak. And Frodan's going to be in a D spot now, the only member on a full streak. No players are 100 HP though. Trickster did lose that. But Elmon now has the 4-2 armory to think about. A rod, perhaps, if we're thinking about Karma, or a glove, okay. That could be like an Eye Jewel Gauntlet pairing, which I know we're, have seen a lot of the the Chinese players, especially in Worlds, prioritize that kind of itemization very, very heavily, whether it goes on something like a Lucian or a Karma or a Vel'Koz. However, the blue buff, not really going to find much use on any AD carries, just the AP ones.
Khroen, one of the AD comps, but a common Quail running. I just saw the Vel'Koz 2 come through, and Yuki also just hit the Ashe 3 at 4-2. So you can expect Yuki to at least be competitive in a lot of these battles. And here it is. You ask and you shall receive.
Here we go. Ashe 3, Deathblade now to pair off. That's going to be fantastic with the Runans. Does benefit from the Ranger buff as well. There is a Vayne one in there. And yeah, look at Ashe just clean up this board here. She's doing a ton of damage at this point. Is going to fall off eventually. So Yuki is now, is going to be pressured to try to use this gold, econ back up, level up to 8 and level 9, and then have a lobby winning board. Elmond was the player a couple weeks ago who did pilot that Ashe 3 to a victory. It had a few different items. It did have like a Giant Slayer, I believe, as well. Might have had a Last Whisper. But Yuki, was actually running 5 Draconic as well. We get some 5 Draconic eggs, and Draconic was buffed, I believe, in the patch coming into this week.
Yeah.
So the average value from your eggs are going to be a bit higher. I think there's actually now a 2% chance to get a 5-turn egg up from a 1% as well. So doubling those chances might actually see some of those legendary 5-turn eggs.
and the crazy thing is you're actually gonna really see the difference between 1% and 2%. I think when you play Draconic, like you're gonna feel like you're really high rolling, right? But everyone is when they're playing Draconic, which is why, like, as a viewer, it's gonna be super fun, but might be really frustrating as a player, depending on how the rest of the lobby goes. But I actually really love this itemization on the Galio, and it's gonna be enough, but you could already see a little bit of that fading away. As this one wasn't as easy as to be expected, but it was against Khroen, who is running a pretty strong comp right now with that Aphelios, and eventually Akshan that will be joining that Aphelios as I see it on the bench.
There you go. Ooh, Lucian, fully upgraded, fully itemized. The only thing about Yuki's board, though, is that both the primary tank and carry are fully itemized. That means the 5-1 armory is probably going to need to be a bit of a utility item, like a Zephyr, a Banshees, a Shroud, something like that, as you cannot at this point benefit from just a pure tank or deep damage item, at least not very well.
All right, Trickster, one loss in all of the game, and it was a big one. It was probably a wipe, as I think we went from like 100 to 86.
Yeah.
So not quite recalling exactly who broke the streak, but I'm really intrigued to see this particular comp because it was really strong. And this was exactly what did not need to happen with the Jax, right? We got the Jax at what, 2-3, 2-4? Yeah, right. Ooh. With the Deathblade, and again, people are just stronger now, and so that Jax, that is the reason why we had 100 HP for so long, is now gone, and we're gonna go ahead and contest Khroen for now.
Gonna be going the Aphelios direction. I feel like people just love to contest Aphelios. Like, that's gonna be a solid carry. The itemization, you can slam early Rage Blades, early Death Blades, and still go into this carry, and they're like best in slot for him. And Aphelios 1 is still even a very viable carry when you have the Death Blade on him. He'll still be able to ramp up. And as soon as those ultis come through, he's gonna start stacking. But that's, oh man, a Radiant blue buff on a Gwen over there for Elmond. There's a Heimerdinger too in the backline as well. Like, what was Elmond's roll down? That's crazy. And what's crazy is it's still gonna lose as well. The Heimer doesn't have any AP. It's just a Giant Slayer and a Shojin's there. Wow. A level 8 TFT board that rolled it all the way down, hit a 2-star like 5 cost, and Tracer didn't roll down. Rolled like once, found a pair of Aphelioses, and still won. Like, that's crazy, and shows the power of why people contest Aphelios a lot. He's a pretty strong unit.
Yep. But there's like this really fine line, right? It's like he's the best tightrope walker in the game, where he just does not compete against some of the hyper late game comps. If the game ends early enough, that's when we're going to see an Aphelios lobby win. But we actually at Fight Night see Aphelios win lobbies rarely. It's almost like they are always the bridesmaid, right? Yeah. They're going to get second or third. So this is actually looking like a potentially friendly lobby, but we already have a tier 2 5-cost unit with the Heimerdinger. We've got the Ashe. We have a legendary egg on that bench.
Yeah,
we've got a ton of items, right?
Look at the egg.
Like, it is. This is gonna. I cannot wait to see round 5-5 and 6-1 because the comps that we see at that point in time are all gonna look like this potentially.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's a 5-turn egg, yeah, from was it Yunyuki? So I have to tune in a few rounds to their board, see what's up there. Khroen now getting the blessing. Wow, a lot of players are so close in HP. This is Raptors, and 7 players have received a Radiant Blessing. Trickster and person did not. But like you said, we don't usually see Aphelios lobbies win. It's because they usually don't get to that tier 3. But I think from Trickster's position, assuming that Khroen, dies rather early or just stays on only Aphelios 2 and doesn't try to go for any more, this is a real position where Trickster could hit Aphelios 3. Radiant Armory, again, the 5-1, the second one. That Zeke's Harmony is going to be huge. Rascal's Gloves, Mistral, both also good options. And does pick the gloves.
Oh, 2 Jaxamuses as well. We're getting some nice rolls, at least blocking some 5 costs at the very least.
Yeah, okay,
gonna go ahead and block, not block a completed Jax, even though the game is like, please play me.
Yeah.
Please play Jax. I really want you to.
It's just not happening. It's just not in the cards. Finding an Akshon as well, so we get the 2 Ranger online. Start to play some Revenants as well. This board is decent. Oh, okay. The Radiant Thieves' Gloves go onto the Teemo. 1 is good with the Fist of Fairness, but not the Cape. Not going to be that great.
Unless, it is the very last... Oh, no, it doesn't even have to be the last unit because he just wins because of Cruel.
Yep.
But... the damage is there. Vel'Koz 2, not enough. And Crispy Burger, a little bit soggy right now. Sitting on the bottom of the top of the bottom 4. But, what's crazy is a Common Quail was the first one to get their stimmy. And look at where they are now, right?
Yep,
so
second place.
I still really think the earlier the better if you're okay with that play style. It truly is not for everybody. At Fight Night, the best person that we saw, and if you want to go back in the VODs, is 100% Jose playing Assassins. But the overarching theme is that you get that stimmy earlier, you get to use it, especially if it's gold. It is kind of like the great equalizer. And this board hasn't gotten stronger since we've gotten that Ash 3, and we're at 19 HP, and we did just lose, right? The Heimerdinger is not going to come. The Heimerdinger 2 is not going to come without some help, but we are going to get this egg hatch. So let's see what happens.
Oh, the egg hatch. I'm just staring at it, waiting. I want it to happen. The Galio 2 has been upgraded. The front line is super good. Backline has the Ash 3, has a Teemo with some great itemization as well. But on the wrong side, Common Quail's Vel'Koz is lined up perfectly to start taking these carries out.
Does ult the Ash. It will take 1 more ultimate, and it looks like they will be safe to do it. The Ash 3, once again, this is going to be a pretty gnarly loss. 19 HP should be enough. It's going to be close.
Yeah,
might not be.
They'll survive, but going to be on 6 HP. The egg, are we even going to get there? Is it hatching now? It is. What's it going to pop with? Oh, some gold
2
force of nature. 5-turn egg, that is what you can get out of it. It is absolutely crazy and could be exactly what Yuki needed to come back in this game. Outfit so many other synergies in this board. Look at this right now, the 3 Mystics online. I suppose the Nunu isn't doing too much at the moment, could benefit from something else, but it is still going to be just another front line to deal with. But oh no, Crispy Burger's now gonna be okay. I guess positioning isn't gonna be as bad as last round. The Ash might survive for a bit longer.
If you hear an evil laugh in the background, that was probably on Yuki until he saw another Vel'Koz again. But it's gonna be okay. This time around. Look at the difference. Very similar comps, very different results. Jedi Mind Tricks gonna have to spend a little bit more time with Yoda to get a little bit better. At being a Jedi here in 8th place, 6 HP, 7 HP, 9 HP, single digits for the bottom 4, top 4, a little bit of a separation. But we've got, Juke, Trickster, and Khroen who've kind of been in the top the whole time. And then we've got a Common Quail who's doing the run back right now. So really interesting lobby because remember how far ahead the top 3 were back in like 3-1? And again, the game will naturally make this happen as we go over to Khroen's board once again. We got a little bit of something. We got a little bit of this, a little bit of that when it comes to those synergies.
A little bit of this and that, just 2 being the highest synergy number of anything Khroen's working with right now. He was running the Aphelios, is still running the Aphelios, and has some good front line between the Nautilus and the Rel. Teemo finds a lot of value in some of these boards as well. 2 Hellion between Teemo and Lulu. Ukshan now on the board. Jedi Mind Tricks as the player in 8th place, unfortunately. Khroen
Did
has
you
stabilized the
see
past
the
2 rounds.
Lucian,
Yeah,
Mr.
that's
Khroen?
going to be a Lucian 3 on board of Jukyu. See if we find it in one of these fights. Can't go
We
to the
said it out
perspective,
loud,
unfortunately.
so
Yeah.
no, it's going to be another Vel'Koz comp. So, and why does this always happen? We see Vel'Koz and Nabi once like a lot, and then never again. So we'll see if we're going to see more Vel'Koz after this. But we will definitely be seeing Vel'Koz in the top 4, as I believe 3 of these players are playing that comp right now. The Thief's Gloves, there's a Fist of Fairness on the Diana, not quite enough to help go through the complete Vel'Koz ultimate, but it is not over just yet. It is going to be the Aphelios taking the rest down, with Amand and Unyuki falling in 6th and 7th, even after a double Force of Nature, 2 extra units, not enough to bring Unyuki back from the brink.
Ooh, unfortunate. Unyuki in 7th. Elmond actually got in 6th, but this is a similar pace for Elmond. Elmond goes bot 4 in the first 2 lobbies. Yeah, goes bot 4 in the first 2 lobbies, and then goes like first, or first, second in the last 2 games of the day. Definitely a player who ramps up over the course of a tournament. GQ, the only player still on a streak because, of course, the Lucian 3. And it's not looking like there's many other 3-starred 4-cost carries on the horizon. At least definitely not for Frodan. But oh man, Frodan going up against the Lucian 3. Is it going to be enough? The Diana's not jumping into a great spot, and the Lucian's going to start culling into the Aphelios, and yeah, he goes down. It's going to be doomed. This fight already over.
Okay, so actually good news. If you're a Frodan fan right now, you are stoked you just faced the Lucian 3.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to face it again in 3 rounds, right? So everyone else is going to have to suffer the culling again. And by that point, a Common Quail and Trickster might not be around, right? So in terms of matchup, that could actually be pretty beneficial. But once we get some eliminations, things might go a little bit quicker. But if you do find a silver lining, at least that's definitely one of them if you're a Frodan fan.
100%. Top 4 secured. Feels good. We can kind of take that and get on out of here with the Lucian 3. Trickster looking like they're not going for Aphelios 3 either. Do have a lot of gold, could level up, have exact gold to do so. It would just be putting in a Fiddlesticks, which, I mean, is going to give Revenant, is going to give Mystic as well. Not bad. Has a Zephyr, and Zephyr, we talk about it a lot. One of the best items to get in this kind of late game, Dragon or Carousel scenario. See what
Has
kind of value Trickster's able to get, yeah.
Yeah, it has the Zephyr. Also has this team that really wants to be on fire. It's the second time the Sunlight Cape has been rolled for that particular Teemo. So, and with so many Vel'Kozes, it could be better. But this is the Lucian 3, and we actually miss it. So it is going to be Lucian fighting through everyone. That's a lot of tier 1 units. This comp is a little lucky. We got the Aphelios though, and Aphelios is one of those ways to try to take down a unit like that Lucian, but it's got to have one more ult. One more ult. It was all you needed, but it didn't come through. Tricksters though is going to survive. So next up actually is going to be a Common Quail for that Lucian 3 because Frodan actually got eliminated.
Yeah, Frodan out in 4th. Not bad with the whole lobby positioning. Trickster can roll for either roll one more time or cycle. Okay, I was gonna say could cycle the Zephyr on the Lulu, would replace it with the Lulu 2, which is significant, or Lulu 1, which is significantly weaker than Lulu 2, of course. But does upgrade to this Teemo 2, and the Teemo has now rolled a Radiant Chalice. Not bad.
Not bad at all. And honestly, any position in the top 4 on this particular lobby is really nice. This got pretty ridiculous, especially with all like the Draconics and stuff. And a lot of people raced really fast ahead as we frontline the Aphelios a la Draven, which is usually who you see in terms of auto-attacking frontline.
Yeah, and now it's going to be Aphelios versus just that turret up there. Aphelios going to win that one out. See the scouting of that last board, or the other board as well. And that's probably going to be Lucian winning, unless he keeps getting CC'd. If he's able to ult, he will always heal back up. That front line of Aphelios is going to pay big dividends for Trickster. Wins that round out. The other board's going to be a Common Quail versus Jukyu, but a Common Quail is going to lose it and drop to 1 HP, but is still alive. At the very least. Who's gonna be third? Who's gonna be second? Because it looks like Jukyu's, already secured that first place.
On fire probably for the rest of the time. But that last Lucian did not look completely unbeatable, right?
That's true.
Maybe
It's
it was
definitely
it definitely got CC'd, and we just need the CC to fall in the right order along with our Aphelios ults to potentially stack as much damage as possible. So we got a nice roll on the Teemo Thieves Fist of Fairness. No, Thieves Gloves, Rascal's Love, sorry, as well. So everyone's going to get CC immunity. And Teemo, unfortunately, just a little close to that Vel'Koz ultimate, does get taken down. And, it does kind of feel like it is going to go a Common Quail's way, especially after this second ultimate. But that Aphelios cannot go down without a fight. And it's actually potentially going to beat the Vel'Koz. And it does. It looked like Vel'Koz had that, but the ults, they came at the right time, and that's what needs to happen on this next matchup as well, is that Aphelios needs to do pretty much the exact same thing.
Yeah, that is the power of a Bloodthirster, in this case, the Radiant Bloodthirster, on an AD carry like Aphelios. Not only does it give the, the shield like a Bloodthirster does, but it just gives some flat magic resistance because that Bloodthirster is, made with a cloak. It's going to be doubly impactful there. And then with every single ultimate, Aphelios heals back up to full, and that was the reason that Trickster won the round. Not gonna be, a similar deal against the Lucian. Lucian's damage does come through too fast, or specifically Lucian 3's damage comes a bit too fast. There is the potential, though. If a Diana finds a good ult and CCing Lucian, and then a Lulu Poly can come through with Aphelios auto attacks, it can happen. This Volibear now, actually, it has Revenant and a Guardian Angel, so that could be providing some good CC as well.
And Lucian dodges the Zephyrs as, hey, I saw you do it, let me do it this time. And so Lucian actually gets CC'd out of that first ultimate. Here is the second one. And even though the damage is being done, there's just too much happening on the Lucian, but you could potentially get crueled if you have any hope if you're Trickster, but that's not going to be the case as Lucian 3 takes the victory. And once again, for what feels like the 130th time in a row, Aphelios gets second in the lobby.
That is true. I mean, it's to a Lucian 3, so what are you going to do against it? You got to play for the 3 cost, or 3-star carry, I think, at that point, if you're going to even contest, but not able to do so. Jukyu comes up with the lobby win. We'll get the rest of the scores as a refresher in just a few. Get to see, how this meta is developing. Not much has seemed like it's changed. Maybe there's less, reroll focused, if people were considering that beforehand. We do get a chance to look at the scores. Boop, what do you make of game at number 1?
Oh, game 1 was absolutely insane. We had 2 Draconic 5 players, both roll legendary eggs. Someone got 2 Force of Natures and then died 2 rounds later, which is exactly how that first lobby, I think, can be summarized. 2 extra Force of Natures was not enough for the top 4. It wasn't even enough for the top 6. 2 Force of Natures ended up getting 7th place, and that should kind of give you a nice summary of what happened there. A lot of really clean play from both Aphelios players. I really enjoy watching Aphelios being played well. It just feels really nice. It's like cracking your back, and it just releases tension for some reason. But also Lucian 3, made an appearance, and that's got to be in a lot of people's minds, because if you are running that Draconic, or if you are high rolling, these stronger units are going to be popping up in that late game. So it might not be the last time we see a tier 3-4 cost unit, or even 5 cost unit, especially if we keep seeing Draconic players get these huge eggs with maybe double Force of Natures, but maybe sometimes those Nikos that can get us there.
Yeah, Nico's help. I mean, that could be doing it. We saw some players, I believe it was Trickster as well. The early game Jax carry allowed a level 8 with 50 gold, could have rolled down. And if that Jax was an Aphelios already, and we had gotten to a point where we didn't have to roll, land on Aphelios 2, and then everything else, that's when we can go 9, start rolling it down for those 3-starred carries. I wouldn't be surprised if we see some more 4-cost 3 stars. 5 costs might be pushing a little bit. Haven't seen one of those in a while.
I'm trying to speak it into existence, Khroen. It's like saying the number 7, right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to do. The more we talk about it honestly, maybe the more God will bless us with something, because those units can be absolutely hilarious to watch. I
100%.
was victimized by a Teemo 3
Yeah, I remember.
during PBE, and I will never forget that gaming experience for my life. So maybe we see it, but that was actually some really good play from a lot of people. This is going to be a tough lobby, because remember, just on the basics of everything, it's a top 4.
Yep.
This week coming back. So we had 4 people come back this week. So just already we've got defending champs, more of them in here. So I predict closer lobbies. I predict even crazier comps. And we didn't even see any Dawnbringers. We didn't see a ton of Invokers outside of that Teemo. And we could potentially see more AP out of the Vel'Koz that we saw. But really enjoyed the Aphelios that time. And the Lucian was just a little bit too much. So let's see if there's going to be a completely different route that people are taking this time around. And if Lucian even shows up on the Convergence.
Yeah, I want to say there was like a pretty evenly split lobby down the middle in terms of players going AP and AD. I think there was like 2 or 3 Vel'Kozes, and I believe Elmond was rocking the Heimerdinger too, and then didn't have that great of a placement with it. I think it was indeed a 6th. Then half the lobby as well was AD. There's Lucian player, a couple of Aphelioses as well. So that's a nice lobby dynamic. It means that everything is viable. Sure, there was compositions that weren't played. Like we didn't see Draven, we didn't see Karma, but I think these are going to be comps that are on players' radars as we do get on into game number 2. It just depends on what we roll, depends on our openers, depends on the Radiant items as well, because we do have 2 Radiant armories. And I was thinking, you mentioned it last game, Boop, is that what compositions are double Radiant items going to benefit? And I think definitely one of those is Vel'Koz, because not only is Vel'Koz a carry that you have to worry about itemizing, but you also oftentimes run abomination frontline, and sometimes you're kind of stuck with not all of your abominations having items, and your A-bomb only carrying 2. So I think that Radiant item being able to give something like a Radiant Sunfire cape, or just really any tanky item, is going to be huge for that composition, because you need such specific itemization there.
Yeah, it is. Vel'Koz has always felt like if there were a second Radiant item, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, why do I have to choose between this and this, right?
Yeah.
And now you don't really have to. You just got to get a little lucky, right? And so that's always going to be a possibility. And like I said before, the second Radiant item bonus also will give you a second or third, especially after the Stimmy, comeback opportunity, right? Because that lobby did not start out so close. That lobby started out anything but close. The Common Quail, got the Radiant Stimmy at the same time as the Radiant item, and ended up in third, right? So lots of different play styles represented. We saw slow play. We saw no re-rolling, though. So that's the only thing I think that we really didn't see in that last game that we could potentially see moving into these lobbies, because last week, that's all we saw.
Yeah, definitely. And not even just with one cost, right? Like even the one costs were nerfed, like literally the world championship winning composition was a Riven Nidalee reroll composition based off of those 3 costs. And that's not something that was seen at any point else in that tournament, and something that we haven't really seen that much of in Fight Night either. But some things do kind of pop up a little bit as a surprise, but they do end up being very good. Trickster once again running an early skirmisher board. No 3 sentinels as of yet. Might look for that soon, though, as the next synergy to place on the board.
Man, I wonder if that Jax player picked up those Jaxes the game wanted to bring, if we would have gotten like a Lucian 3, Jax 3,
maybe
1v1 at the end. Because sometimes when the game's like, hey, I'm just going to give you a bunch of Jaxes, there's no real proof saying that you're going to get more, but I feel like it usually works out. That's awful advice. But sometimes, like, when your first pack has 3 Sennas, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's okay to be like, I'm just going to roll these Sennas, because you have that direction, and you're going to have that direction the entire time, rather than constantly pivoting, where some people get stuck in a pivot forever.
Yep.
Which is something we see at Fight Night a lot. That's one of those clean pivots, I think, is one of those separators of the world champions and Fight Night, for example, is how clean and how long they take. And so looking through this, everyone is going to pivot, most likely, unless you are forcing that initial comp. And here for Juke U, no Lucians just yet. This was our Lucian 3 last round, and now we're going to go ahead and give ourselves, this is what I was saying.
Yeah,
right?
the Pikes.
We've got, this is thanks, Mort. I appreciate you. This is exactly what I'm talking about. This is hard. Like, the game is like, hey, here's this stuff, right?
Yeah, and he grabs it.
Do you take it? Yeah, and that's a tough decision because it means a lot of other decisions have to change.
It is. One big thing is going to be just the economy, point of view. That's gonna be 3 skirms now, 2 sentinels, a pike 2 being one of those sentinels. And this is a good start to this board. Wow, a Morello is actually a thing being slammed, and a Giant Slayer. That is fascinating, actually, because most players in that scenario would have slammed the Rage Blade. It's a fantastic item that can find use on multiple carries. We even saw one on the AP tree on a Vel'Koz last game. Not like his best in slot or anything, but it was serviceable. But Giant Slayers being slammed this early, generally not going to have that much value. It's not going to really get to that 1600 HP cutoff, but it will eventually. And at that point, it's going to be super good. And it also just gives you some raw stats for Udyr to use now and, punish players like Frodan.
And there is an argument to say, if I don't build this now, I'm probably going to build something else with these components later, right? So, and if you're that kind of player, slamming a Giant Slayer now, because it's hard when you have more information, you're going to overthink that choice potentially. Here, you're just like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and do it. This can go on AP or AD. It doesn't really matter. So it's going to be better on AD, but on things like Karma and Vel'Koz, like you said, it's serviceable. So it is something that they could potentially go forward with. And now we're seeing the best on board type of situation right now because of the pike that we picked up that the game gave us. So Let's see if this ends up working out now that we went with the game's kind of like level, right? Is that going to continue a smooth ride, or is that going to end up being a mistake later on?
Went with the game's game plan, and went level 5 as well before Carousel, so that's going to be even more of a reason why Juku is going to win this round and carry the 100 HP win streak forward. 3 Sentinel, 3 Skirm. You love to see that board. Don't believe that there is a Irelia amongst that board, though, which is obviously great because she has both a Sentinel and a Skirmisher. Yeah, no, there's not. There's a Lee Sin, Olaf, and an Udyr. We'll be picking last in this carousel as well, and no loose item components means that Juku is probably okay with whatever here.
Well, especially since we built the Giant Slayer, right? So, like, we know we're probably going to be last on the carousel, so we're really locked into this direction. If we had left those items off, we're going to have those components. Think about what we're going to get on this carousel, and Giant Slayer might have never been made, but it's a call, right? Because the other thing that you're going to do is show everyone that you've built a Giant Slayer, so people might naturally kind of move away from some multi-tank kind of carries because you have that Giant Slayer and they know it's coming.
Yeah. Definitely. Crispy Burger has an Infinity Edge and a Titan's Resolve as well. And these are items that are fun on an Aatrox early as a carry. And part of the reason why Crispy Burger is at 100 HP. Wow, it's not actually leveled to 5 here to protect the streak. That's crazy. Maybe they thought that they would be weaker than Juku either way. That is interesting, though, because generally if players have purchased XP already, they would carry it forward after the carousel.
This is greed upon greed when it comes to, and we're adding items because of it. And it's not guaranteed, though. It is getting pretty close. I think this is going to, Giant Slayer is actually going to matter. So that's really cool to see. Not for the Aatrox, but the Pike also going to be helping out. This is not over, friends, especially after that Thresh. So our level 4 player is actually going to be able to win streak to 2-6 without leveling up, which again is not very common, and gives us an opportunity to make 10 total gold through this round if we win this one or sell a 1-cost unit.
I'm so surprised about decision making, and was rewarded for it. Now levels to 5. Oh man, I am a little confused, I think, with that, because if you're planning on leveling 5 anyway, and making or not making economy, then you might as well have just leveled, because that matchup that you're going to face, it was a tough one, is by no means a guaranteed victory, and had a good synergy to put on board the Legionnaire. It's going to do it now. It's going to streak, I believe, 5 into Grogs.
Greeted, decided to let it ride, right? And then this time, doing the thing that you would have done anyway, right? It almost feels like you just wanted to experience that emotion. It's like going to a horror movie, right? It's like you went there just to feel
just to do
or
it.
something.
Doesn't
Yeah,
say you did it. Like, yeah.
and it's kind of a flex now that you pull it off, right? Like, I only need 4 units. Like, that's how strong I am.
Dude, that's the thing though. It's
And
like Oldia flex. It doesn't make sense.
that's
It
still
doesn't.
strategy. Oh, flexes have delivered championships, my friend. How do you think we know Arnold Schwarzenegger? That was
You're
good. That was good.
Yeah,
That was
there you
good.
go.
I
You're
was
right.
proud of that.
I actually I have no comeback, Boop. Absolutely no
Anyway,
comeback.
Crispy Burger still on fire. She's feeling really good. Makes sense that Crispy Burger would have the fire
Sure.
on their name.
Also gonna get crispy.
Exactly.
With the
GQ
spat.
in third. That's our lobby winner last time around. Spats coming through. So that's going to be Renewer and Ironclad. Or
Good,
Cavalier.
Cavalier, yeah. Good Cav, good Dawnbringer, good Renewer. But it's already had, I believe it's had this misfortune too, actually, for a long time, and finds another one. The only thing is, like, this MF reroll composition can be good, but there's no Hackrums, and Hackrum is really like the main carry, main kind of tank with this style. Is keeping all the MFs though. And I do like an MF reroll style. I think it's a bit underutilized. I think it can actually come up with some not guaranteed top fours, but some pretty solid ones. And yeah, with the Cav Spat, I believe this will be a committal to an MF Cavalier reroll. And I like it a lot.
Yeah, this comp is going to stay at level 6 a little longer than a lot of other comps are, just to roll for that misfortune. So this is going to be our first reroll comp, like official reroll comp that we're seeing today, and already seeing a little less AP just overall. I guess you could kind of count this misfortune as that AP, and you're already seeing at these levels, especially from like 3-1 to like 4-2, grouping is just something that happens. Misfortune's going to get more units, and then since they're skinnier, right, since they have less HP, they're going to be getting cut through a lot. Once we hit tier 3, that's when they're going to be able to take a lot of these tankier units like this Aatrox might be, as it's still, Aatrox I think is absolutely crushing it right now for Crispy Burger, because that's the carry that we're seeing on fire. Yeah, we go to a Common Quail, we get 2 forecasts here, one being Vel'Koz.
That is really wild. You can even see Common Quail's reaction there, being like, what do I do? Why is the game giving me this much? Like, absolutely wild. Just hit. I
don't deserve this.
Look, I love this reaction.
Yeah, this is Quail always does these kinds of reactions, and I love seeing that emotion come through the players, right? Because this stuff gets intense, right? And it's hard to keep that inside for so long, and then something good happens, and it's like that hopium feels really good. That's why we call it that way. Yeah, and so Vel'Koz is going to get that ultimate off, but a little bit too much attack speed from Udyr, which has kind of stayed a little longer than usual. Jedi Matrix, though, trying real hard to not get last place this time around. Frodan at 48 HP. Don't worry about it, because we're playing Draconic over there, and we are going to get our Stimmy. And again, the person who gets the Stimmy first usually makes it to the top 4, unless it's kind of like one of those blessings that just absolutely bonk that you just don't need.
A couple things to call out for a Common Quail here is that one is just constantly hitting in every single shop. Hits that Thresh 2 there in that shop, is now playing 4 knights, but also the items. Sunfire, a great generic item, but look what's on the bench, right? The components for an Infinity Edge and another glove. And the 4 cost carries that a Common Quail found were Vel'Koz and Lucian, both carries that do amazingly well with the Infinity Edge and Jewel Gauntlet combination, the best 2 for those, and a Common Quail can very easily transition into either one, is going to in this next carousel pick rather early, and so is probably guaranteed a rod for that item pairing.
That's why you saw the excitement, right? That's why you saw the emotion. And, when you're competing, and remember, Common Quail bombed out their second week last time they were here. Had a great opening, just like last time. And, Common Quail won last week. And so, we're trying to do it again. And this was not something that a Common Quail was able to accomplish last time we were here. So now that we're over at the carousel, we do have a spatula.
Yeah, how about Frodan? Is the rod going to be there? Jukyu takes the bow. Common Quail gets the rod. Which carry is this going to be prioritized for, though? The Vel'Koz, as of right now with the IE and Jewel Gauntlet, is missing mana generation. There's no Shojins, no blue buff. Maybe the Radiant Armory could provide that. But if not, a Common Quill is going to be, you know, in a bit of a rough spot. Khroen, however, yeah, look at this money. Level 7 and 50 gold on 3-5. That is the power of Draconic, Boop.
Power of Draconic, indeed. So we didn't get our Stimmy just yet. So, you know, part of me thinks we almost throw this round just to do it.
Yeah,
And we don't have very strong units. So we're trying to lose by as little as possible. And again, that can be hard. Lose streaking with 1 or 2 units every single time is pretty difficult to do. This comp might be a little hard to do it against because of that Giant Slayer that Jukyu is running right now, but we already have the Sentinel buff going onto the Lucian. There is that ultimate. The backline actually doing okay, and the Zyra potentially locking up that Lucian, but Lucian not going to be the target of the snare, and that is going to be a great loss, like you said. Just 2 people, especially at this point in time, that was almost the only thing that would have been better would have been a 1 unit loss, and we're very happy with where we're at right now.
Could have been at 38, but it is a-okay. Khroen grabbing that spat as well is going to lean into a Spellweaver emblem in just a bit. Everyone's on board. Khroen's kind of scouting things out here. Let's see what it's going to be. Ooh, gonna be a Tome and a Reforger as well, and that egg pops a Heimer. What? Oh,
the Tome's gonna have a Draconic spat in it too, so we'll see what happens here.
Is it? I wonder if okay. Banshee Silence, a great generic option here. Nice pickup. Ash 2, and Nunu as well. Khroen's just hitting everything. A-bomb on the board. What's this Tome going to pop to be? And does he want to use it right now or wait 1 turn? He's thinking about it.
The reason why we would wait is to make sure that we got an Abomination choice, but we got a Spellweaver and no Draconic, which is usually a bonk when it comes to the Tome.
Where'd it go?
What?
Hello?
What?
It'll probably be back when he goes to his other board. I think.
There it is. There it is. Okay.
Never mind.
I think it was behind confused. Another item. Yeah, I was like, wait, where'd it go? No, I totally get that different item change from 7 months ago. That they don't remember that. Now I get why it's needed.
Yeah.
I'm on board, Bort. But now the Draconic player should be okay, especially with that Spellweaver emblem, which is going to open up a lot of opportunity here. That's a big win. We went from losing a lot to winning that round, and we got to make sure that we give ourselves some time to get that legendary egg.
Yeah. There's going to be a lot of rolling happening on a lot of different players' boards. Trickster, probably one of them as well, is not quite in that stimmy range. Khroen's probably going to wait until about 4-2. So I'd love to see if he does go to 8 at that point. He might not, but I would love to see if he does go to 8 at that point and rolls it down. Oh, okay. And Nico's help for Trickster. That's going to be massive. Needs to land on a 4-cost carry. There's double Hand of Justice.
Which one?
Rage Blade. Aphelios. Probably going to be the better one out of these with these specific items.
Okay, so Khroen, I learned a really funny joke about Yasuo. You want it? Is now appropriate?
I'm scared now. I don't know. Sure, okay. Yeah. Tell me.
Yasuo never gets locked out of his house because he always has a key. See, it's nice. It wasn't even that ridiculous. It's something you can tell the kiddos.
That was solid. Yeah, I like
totally
it.
Stole it, but I liked it. That's why I said I learned it. But yeah,
some of the best jokes are stolen. It's fun.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Tactical borrowing, as I like to say.
I learned in one of my graphic design classes was great artists create, or good artists create, great artists steal. It was a quote that I learned.
The other one I know is innovation isn't creating something new; it's changing that something already exists.
Yeah.
Right? Which is true. We see a lot of innovation in TFT, for example.
100%. That is TFT in a nutshell.
Yep. As Khroen does take another win ever since we locked in this Heimerdinger, we are going to feel okay, but we're still not completely back on the horse right now. It's still a little wobbly, but we're getting there. We still need a little bit of extra help. We know what's going to be in this. It's going to be the Reforger and the Tome, and this Tome should have Nightbringer spat in it.
Hopefully.
Based off of what they played last time around, and players that don't use the Tome are doing it on purpose so they can have the RNG be better for the comp that's currently on their board, because it takes the data from the previous round.
Oh, wow. I'm actually surprised that Trickster rolled down this aggressively. Yeah, okay, as Nightbringer and Invoker as the 2 traits that Trickster was running, and then A-Bomb Mystic were the other 2, and Nightbringer the Teemo, and put the Hand of Justice there. So this kind of turned out okay. The only thing I'm worried about is a lack of frontline, and Trickster is 25 HP. So I would have liked to see the utilization of a Nico's help, because we're in a very real world right now where Trickster could just die without really having a great opportunity to use this Nico's.
Okay. Oh man, these Nikos are actually going to be pretty consequential because we saw how strong the lobbies got at the end last lobby, right? So it is just a little bit of a speed boost, right? You know, in like racing games, there's always that, you know, red and orange arrow that that you
Yep,
can go
gives a
over and
little
push
speed
you
up.
forward. Yeah, that's what this Nikos is going to function as, most likely for Tricksters. Is going to be used really selfishly for a super high cost unit, like a tier 3-4 cost unit, or are we going to use it a little bit earlier to stave off something else? And that might be the case at 25 HP.
Yeah, just saying how, I think it was a bit greedy to hold on to it. Um, because, rolled down a lot and hit the feelers too either way. So I think that Nico might actually not serve a lot of benefit at that point. But we'll
Yeah.
see. It has potential to get a Teemo 2, perhaps, if this stage 4 carousel does have a Teemo in it. That would be fantastic. We'll see. Not much going on here for Elmond. Gwen can be great. I think we did see, especially from World Reckoning Championship, how Gwen is going to be fantastic, but not as a Gwen 1, into a full culling from a Lucian 2. Lucian being the carry of choice from Juke U yet again. Double Giant Slayer and Hand of Justice, not bad items. Not like best in slot, but Giant Slayers do have a lot of value here, and the Hand of Justice healing is great for him as well.
And that's flat extra damage with the double Giant Slayer, right? So the Hot is going to benefit from that particular itemization really well. And if this lobby becomes inherently super tanky, that's going to be good. But, once we hit round 6-1, 6-2, a lot of units end up getting that into Giant Slayer range. So
Yeah.
it's not even just for tanks anymore, as we have a pretty cool carousel.
There's a
right
Teemo.
now. Yeah, a lot of different items.
Oh,
so
there
Trickster
it is.
does pick the Teemo, and we still have that Nikos.
All right, that's gonna be a Teemo 2 on level 7 for Trickster. I mean, that's great. That's like the literal one thing that greeting that Nico's help allowed Trickster to do. So got bailed out a little bit, and maybe that's what you need, right, from Trickster, because you're really low in this lobby. It's gonna be really strong because of these players like Khroen, who are rocking the 5 Draconic, 4 Spellweaver at the same time. Trickster as well. I mean, got a second place last game, so it's not like they need to really feel pressure about catching up, but they do want to go big or go home, maintain that lead, and come out of the gate swinging. I mean, I questioned it, but being rewarded for it, you can just say, I like it. I told you so. Feels good.
Yeah, and this comp has 100% in my mind overachieved up until this point. That was an Aatrox up until recently. Now it's just a Draven 1, but we're winning the lot. Oh, that's a Zyra 3 from Khroen. So we're going to experience a fire there for a while. But looking over here, Crispy Burger's been playing really well. That's a positioning diff, in my opinion, when you're able to squeeze out wins that you might otherwise not get. But this is going to be a true test here when it comes to if we're able to win, because this Zyra is so strong. But the Diana comes through, so does the Abomination, who clips back into the back line. And it is going to be A-okay for Khroen once more. And we're going to have an egg pop that's going to help our 2 and 3 cost units if we haven't 3-starred them yet. So we might passively be able to get like a set 3, for example, if that's something that is on the table.
Crispy Burger passively hits a Vel'Koz too. I mean, can't really pivot into that with these items though, so it's going to just pass it up for Legionnaire over anything like a 4 Knight board. Now we have the Riven to go in. The Draven is tier 2. If that was a Draven 2 last round, it definitely would have been a win. Even Draven 1 was staying, way longer than I thought he actually had any right to be able to do. And that's just with 2 items. The Radiant Titans, huge, and Crispy Burger is still all the way up at 74 HP. She's in a great spot and is actually going to be waiting for the 5-1 Armory, Radiant Armory, to give Draven that 3rd item. If this is a good Draven item that comes out of that, this could be lobby winning.
If you've ever heard of playing the long game, that's what this is.
Yes.
Aatrox, again, did really well in the early game, whipped out 5 or 6 wins in a row, as this Draven doing really, really well. That did not look hard at all for that Draven. And something that I want to talk about, Khroen, is how popular it's gotten for Draven to get into the front line. Usually we see carries like that because of assassins, but why is Draven kind of finding a home in that corner that we're seeing it in right now?
Yeah, Draven's, I mentioned Ken earlier. There's a lot of nuance, a lot of interesting stuff you can do with his positioning. Draven, I think, is the other unit that's, probably the most flexible positioning, most impactful one. If you put him in the back line, oftentimes Draven will lose a lot of timing and drop axes when he has to walk forward towards the end of a fight. But Draven frontline has a lot of great dueling potential, especially with the Legionnaire trait, can heal back up, can take out the forecast or whatever carries are kind of right across from him and not on the opposite side, but directly in front of him. And that's what Chrissy Burger wants to do. And look at that, a potential other, Zenith Edge. I mean, that's going to be unique, so you can't really make that great use of it, though. No great itemization or third item for the Draven. Does have another Banshee's Claw, though. Double Banshee's Claw Draven blocking 2 spells is very, very nice.
The reason why I react that way is because we built one AD item, and it's the one AD item we see here. So, quickest silver, maybe. It is going to give us attack speed, so that's nice. But it's going to be a tank item instead.
Yep. You kind of have to at that point. Warmogs is going to go on Aurelia 1, and because the Rel already has 3 items on her, that was probably the worst case scenario for a 5-1 Radiant shop that Crazy Burger could have gotten. But see what she does. Despite that, Draven on the correct side is going to be taking out Teemo. No chance of Cruel happening. Draven healing back up, gets to Aphelios, and just one-shots it. Like, the Draven's fantastic. Had carried over the secondary Titans on the bench the whole time to place on the Draven just in case. And that just in case scenario is a reality right now. So Crazy Burger had already prepared for it and is rewarded. I mean, this board's still good. Not as good as it could have been with a better shot, but still good.
And Titans is flat. That's 50 extra damage and defense after those stacks. So, it becomes attack on Titan there, by the end of that round, because Draven is enormous, and even the AP is quite nice on the Draven, especially if you need that little bit of extra lifesteal, because that is what the AP ratios are. As Jedi Mind Tricks now has the tome to look through, we're doing a little bit of a pivot right now. We have our Radiant items. One is the Frozen Heart on the Diana, and the next will be the Redemption on the Irelia. So really leaning into the tankiness there. Diana positioning here, not the best for the Vel'Koz.
Not the best, is going to miss. The Teemo Shrooms are decent, however, but Vel'Koz already got to his first cast. That Shojin's paired with the IE Jewel Gauntlet. It's going to pretty much evaporate whatever it touches. The Lucian was on the correct side, but where's the second Vel'Koz ultimate going to go? It's going to now turn right into the Lucian. Lucian does not have enough time to get through everything, so Jedi Mind Tricks dropping very low. This whole lobby dropping very, very low. Legionnaire, Nightbringer, nothing is good here. Nothing is good.
Nothing.
Oh.
At least his friend is gonna kiss you. Sorry, I was reading the chat there on the screen.
Oh, I was just waiting for you to elaborate because I had no idea what was going on.
Yeah, that's on the screen. So 18 HP, which is actually crazy because only 4 HP. And this is, again, when the single unit losses matter. Right at this point, it's the difference between 5th or 4th place, as 18-18 is actually going to be the tie there, right at the divide. So Lucian once again going to get taken down really early. The Draven doing very good right now, especially since that Titan's Resolve will end up. Here it is. Here's the attacks on Titan, and now nothing is going to be able to take that down. Yeah, those are gains, man.
Massive loss as well. Unfortunately, leaves Jedi Mind Tricks in 8th place yet again, 2nd time in a row. I feel like I was so excited for the name Jedi Mind Tricks, and now I like jinxed it. Curse or curse. I'm sorry, Jedi Mind Tricks.
Literally anytime I predict anything on Fight Night,
yeah,
I say someone's name, and like Sphinx, for example. Sure. Anyway. I know Sphinx, there's a story there. We're all on the joke. Anyway, game 2, and we're seeing, again, the reason why I actually like that we're able to see some of these overlays is the fact that everyone has that information, right? It's just, especially, and in Hearthstone too, where Khroen comes from, it's very, very common to write notes and, write all
track the
that stuff down.
cards.
Exactly. So I feel like it's the same thing. Misfortune 3 now for Unyuki. That's going to be something to look at, but is kind of appearing a little late. If you get that Misfortune, in rounds 4, you're going to be taking HP away from a lot of people. But, we saw a lot of tier 1 units on our last board. Now this is what you call a beefy board.
Oh yeah, this board's so nice. There's no great items besides for the Spellweaver for the Fiddlesticks, but even still, just for Spellweaver Fiddle, gonna be doing a lot of damage. Has the Zyra, has the Heimer as well. Teemo Shrooms from that Teemo 2 are gonna do a great job, but the Zyra is not gonna be hitting into this Aphelios for a long time. How to get through the Teemo and the GA as well, and that's gonna be Heimer. Can he cast yet again? He does.
Yep.
Is it enough? Is it going to be enough? No, it's not. Khroen takes another loss, is not eliminated, but does drop to
loss.
9 HP. Elmond is out in typical Elmond fashion. It is still the first 2 games. Elmond out in 7th. We're really waiting for Elmond to pop off in the next 2, though.
He takes like a real life stimmy during halftime, because 2 weeks in a row he was won the 3rd lobby, I believe. So or at least has come top 2 in it. We pick up the Gwen. We have the Thief's Gloves at the ready, and if we want, we can re-roll a couple of our items. But that is a bait. I think a lot of times people just want to use everything on their bench, but sometimes it is not the right idea. Is this going to go on Karma or Gwen? Oh, actually, we get a little bit of extra help with the Chalice. So Karma and our brand actually going to be doing a little bit extra. Unfortunately, they're just tier 1.
Yeah, just tier 1s. That's okay. I mean, the brand's still alive right now, and the rest of the board is the Zyra ultimate's going to dash into the Lucian. The Lucian dashes into it instead of away. Those are not good mechanics there. Who's paying this Lucian? Get him out of here. GQ gonna have one more chance to speak some sense into his Lucian. Try to get him some coaching, maybe.
Report him. He's out. He's out of the team. We're gonna promote someone from from another team instead.
Yeah, bring him up from academy. Get these
yeah,
players
exactly.
Out of here.
This Lucian, you get one mistake. Oh man. That'd be so scary to be in that position. But we're back to GQ, who is running that Lucian again. The double Giant Slayer now is finding that value. We also have an assassin Olaf in the back line to complement our Viego.
Yep. 4 assassins. Very, very interesting. Olaf 1, of course, not going to be a greatest assassin. Hey, now we get a bit of a better one with the Akshan. Last Whisper as well. Just goes onto Diana for a bit of attack speed. Gets her ulti out, just a bit faster. Might be the difference, might not, but might as well do it. GQ trying to get into the top 4 yet again. They did win the last game. Trickster also out at this point in the bottom 4.
10 HP separating 2nd through 5th.
Oh yeah,
that's
true.
it.
Super close.
The only thing I'd bet on right now is a top 4 from Crispy Burger, and Crispy might lose every round from here on out and still be most likely top 4. The other information I think is up for grabs, especially with some of this itemization. This double Giant Slayer is going to be better against certain units, but we're already accessing that back line, and the Vel'Koz does not take down that Legionnaire, but does end up doing it in the nick of time. Juke should be out. We have another top 4. Khroen really needs to win this one, and it's going to be Unyuki who falls in 5th place. So it is going to be 4th for GQ. That is a second top 4, as Khroen, Quail, and Crispy are going to be in the top 3. And, Khroen and Common Quail, I think, was top 4 last round as well.
Yeah, they were. Khroen was 4th. Common Quail was 3rd. Trickster was 2nd. GQ was 1st. But the latter 2 there are out already. Time for the scoring, the standings to be shaken up yet a little bit. The Draven still is going to be, doing pretty nice. 2 losses in a row. Chrissy Burger is not even on Stimmy yet, however. So the Tome might allow Chrissy Burger to go like 6 Legionnaire or something like that. We'll have to see if they lose this round, but go up against Khroen and that Zyra 3.
I would like to see what Crispy does with her Tome at the end of the day. This Gwen,
big loss.
Big loss in the back line. But again, it doesn't matter. We might lose every round from here on out. we're
Oh,
already in the
goes
top
home.
4, but it's going to be top 2 as Quail actually loses there, and we get our final stimmy of the game along with our Reforger.
There we go.
As Crispy, where are your units? There they
Yeah,
are.
there's some bugs in this patch. There's some bugs, and that's one of them. All right, Tome. Any Tome slams?
Any tomes in the chat?
We're gonna be
We have any
rolling
tomes in the
first
chat?
before we see what the Tome is gonna be. All right, Viego goes in. Viego oftentimes does replace the Thresh as the second Forgotten. Okay. Not gonna use the Tome yet.
Ooh, I mean, and the crazy thing is actually Crispy Burger has a ton of gold as well.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of flexibility, and we know we're not going to lose by 21 HP. Almost, we could get wiped, and we won't lose by 21
Yeah,
HP.
it was 20
so
last
we're gonna wait.
time.
Yeah, we're gonna wait one more round. So 6, 9,
Yeah.
2 are numbers, but important numbers for our lobby right now, because this is it. This is going to be the last round. One more item. We have a couple reforgers for Ms. Burger. So welcome to Good Burger.
Okay, that's a Draven
Maybe
with the
today.
Oh, 2 more Dravens? Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Can we hit the Draven 3? Is it time? Are we gonna see it? Oh man, Gwen's popping in. This all's not
Might be
happening fast
overthinking a
enough.
little bit.
It's
Yeah.
not happening fast enough.
Mouse intention, Khroen. It matters.
Yeah, it definitely does, and we're seeing how it's going to be a bit late right now. We cannot roll down all this gold in time. Just 4 more seconds left. At least we hit the Viego 2. But we need to place all these items back, and the tome as well. The tome.
The tome.
The tome. It's Mystic.
Oh, Mystic
it's
is
great.
Nice. Yeah.
But the positioning once again is not gonna be great though.
Ooh, okay, here it is. Frodan, I think, is going to win this lobby. I don't think I know.
No.
There wasn't a lot of units on the board at the beginning of that fight, pretty much, as Frodan is going to take the second lobby. That's going to be 2 top 4s in a row. That's a 4th place and a 1st place. So in terms of averages, that's usually really good in terms of if you're going to come back next week.
Yeah, and last time we saw Frodan, he did fantastic the first 2 games, even was 1st place in the first 2 games, but then kind of fell off as the day went on. Kind of the opposite of Elmond there. We'll get a chance to see in a bit if that is the same trajectory, because, you know, we're talking about it. Elmond has won both times that we've seen him. He has won the games rounds 3. I believe it was round number 4 last week that he only got second in, but second still pretty good. Let's go ahead and look at the scores after 2 games, Boop. It is going to be Juke You and Frodan tied in 1st place. A 1st and a 4th amongst both of them. Common Quail. Consistency is going to be pretty good. 3rd and 4th with 14 points, Crispy Burger, and 4th with 12. And then Trickster, Unuki, Elmond, and then Jedi Mind Tricks down the line there. But what are you thinking for this lobby after our first 2 games?
I'm really excited to see even more shenaniganery. I love watching Draconic players. We just saw a Draconic player win. Zyre 3 popped in super early, right? And that wasn't like the weakest lobby in the entire world. So, you know, it was cool to see Draven get second. Double Titans was fun to see. So, yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about the lobby so far today. What I also want to see is if Elmond is going to repeat the Elmond of old, and if Jedi Mind Tricks is doing a little bit of a mind trick for the whole lobby right now and might end up in the top 4 the next couple of times too.
It's still possible. Still got 2 more games to go. We know that players sometimes like to chain those firsts back to back when we get in the latter half of the day, but we'll see if that actually happens in just a few minutes. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more Fight Night Rising brought to you by Wisdom. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Fight Night Rising. 2 games down, 2 more left to go. We get to see if the patterns of Frodan popping off the first two and then falling off, and then Elmond's falling off the
Keep
first two
bringing
and
it
then
up.
popping off. Let's see if they stick true. Boop, how are you doing after the 2 games? What are you expecting to see as we do get to the second half of today?
I'm stoked, man. The first 2 games have had some pretty cool play. A lot of different scenarios happening. We've got a lot of different narratives going on as well. Your favorite being Frodance, of course. But the big thing that I'm actually really excited about is continuing to see what differences we're going to have. Right, that
Yep.
second lobby was very draconic heavy, if you will, by the end of it. And we haven't really seen some of those Dawnbringers. We haven't seen some of those Hellions just yet. And again, with that second radium, Mercury all of a sudden,
Ooh,
second
bunker.
radiant bonus, then anything can be possible, especially if you're already leading the pack, if you're already ahead of everybody at that point in time, and it's like a win more situation.
Yeah, we did see our first real comp of the day. I believe it was Yunyuki with the Misfortune Cavalry roll, and they did hit the MF3 eventually, but did fall, and I believe it was 5th. So even from that like really good start of having 4 MFs like at Krugs or something, still wasn't able to translate that into success. I wonder if that's maybe just not familiar with, not being familiar with the comp, or just a lobby thing. We didn't get a chance to see that much of it, so not 100% sure, but hopefully we'll see some some reroll success. I'll say it. Hopefully we see some reroll success as we go into game 3, because I think reroll compositions being viable does add a very interesting element to the game if we know that the threat and the potential is there. I do like that, at least personally, in TFT. But starting on board with that, so Frodan, or just Frodan, our lobby winner of game number 2 with a Draconic. Frodan has liked Draconic in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Like it still.
You're
See if he's
right.
able to do
His
it again.
first ever win was on Draconic here
Yep.
at Fight Night. Nice callback. Also, friend Frodan, you got to update your results here. You won the last one.
Yeah, tournament scores 4th. He's just, sometimes you win, you
you're
get a bit excited, you're just talking about it.
underselling yourself.
Sorry, the total score in the top right shows it. We'll show it for him.
There it is. We got you. We got your back, as we already have a Yasuo and a Vladimir. So this is where you'll see like frontline Vladimir with gargoyles as a start. I don't know. There's really no reason to commit right now, especially with one item component. But if Crit Glove pops out, for example, then we're really thinking about keeping this Yasuo.
Ooh, okay.
Or that, actually.
Yeah, tier as well. Could be Hand of Justice, could be Archangels. Both are very, very good for this Yasuo. As we go into 1-4, is he going to get more gold, more items? He should be getting both. Or, I mean, doesn't have to get both, of course. Could just get gold, but if he gets an item, I believe he'll be guaranteed some gold as well, based off of already having only 1 Yasuo. That's 3. Needs to get up to 5 or 6 baseline. Let's see, 3 Legionnaires as well. 4 Legionnaires is actually so strong in the early game. If he's able to find an Irelia or a Riven, and yeah, okay, it gets 2 gold, gets an item. Or 3 gold, excuse me. 1 more did pop out there. The items, not fantastic. Could be an Archangel Slam. Doesn't have to be, though, as he does ditch the Yasuo, at least for now.
3 gold is a lot of gold at this point in time, right? You sell the Yasuo, you can put in an extra unit, for example, but it's not worth it at this point in time. It's worth 3 gold, right, to keep it on the bench to just maybe that next time around. But depending on this next item, we're going to go a certain direction as we actually fit in our units, and we keep the Yasuo on the bench and sell everything around it instead.
I was gonna say, I think I really like this because it does still leave open the option for Yasuo. The next shops could be Yasuo's because level to 4, so that 3 cost chance is there, and it makes our board stronger right now with some good synergies between Redeemed and Ranger. Unfortunately, it's still going to lose against the level 3 board of Crispy Burgers because Nidalee is very, very good at this point in the game and has a Hand of Justice, so getting a little punished feels bad. Hopefully Frodan can still recover.
Nidalee at this point in the game reminds me of, those early Dragon Ball Z fights where Goku can't hit Vegeta. Do you remember that? Where he just like puts his hands behind his back and like calmly touches everything?
Yeah.
Right? That's the vision I get with Nidalee at this point in time.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Same energy.
for a while too. Like that only one is fine through all of stage 2, right? It's gonna at least take down a unit at the very least, especially with all that dodge with the
Yeah.
Hodge. Oh, look at that dodge
Dodge
with
with
the
the
Hodge.
Hodge. I like it. Unless there's an AP carry like a Brand or something, or like a Ziggs that just will eat through it, because she can't dodge spells,
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately.
Thank goodness, not unfortunately. Thank goodness.
Yeah, actually, that's very, very good that she can't. Otherwise, that'd
It
be
would make sense
a
maybe to
bit
dodge the Ziggs ult,
busted.
but yeah, the MF and the other ones. Thank
Yeah,
goodness.
and the Ziggs is, he lobs the bomb from so far. You probably have some time to step out of the way.
Mm-hmm. I was
Bullet Rain probably can't dodge that.
balloon toss champion for my elementary school field day. Back in 1996.
You remember
everyone.
that? Wow, I don't remember what happened.
My highest athletic achievement, other than crying my way to a gold medal on Taekwondo. That's a really funny story I'll tell later.
Crying your way there. I'm curious. We'll get that for game 4 maybe. We we go off the rails a little bit of game
4. But I promise I'll tell it. So we've got Poppy 2 potentially coming back for Juke U. Very similar opening as Crispy Burger, actually, from last round, who crushed it with the Aatrox Legionnaire start.
Oh yeah, definitely. It was such a fantastic opener with that Aatrox Legionnaire, and it was the IE and Titans as well. No Titans here for Juke U. Frodan popping in, saying hello and scouting. I'm like not used to that, and I don't actually know how I feel about that. To be able to see players scouting you, I have mixed feelings.
I like it because I'm evil. So, I just like to be as much of a nuisance as possible. If I'm not going to win, I'm going to make sure that, I'm around. Right. And so, as much drums as I can play on your board on my chalk is what I'm going to do. Because if you're looking at my little legend, you're not looking at your board, and I'm taking, opportunities away from you. So it's a good testament. It's kind of like wearing blinders in horse racing, right? It's going to be distracting. It might fill up your screen, but at the end of the day, I think it's a skill to be able to filter that through and continue going through your process, even though you're being watched.
There you go. More skills. Yeah, it's just more mechanics, more skills for TFT players to be able to have to deal with. And there's already a lot for TFT players, right? There's so much and so little time. Every single TFT game is so crazy. Got to balance scouting,
especially now.
Got to balance, whatever you're going to play for your comps, your items, the point in the game, scouting other players' boards, that specific timings, keeping track of the stimmy, keeping track of so much. Elmond keeping track of their shops and what they want to purchase. They're considering some options between the brawlers or maybe the Diana. We've seen way too many people rolling for a cost on level 5. I'm just going to say it. Like, there's no reason that we should see this many. But we are. Diana not going to be really on Elmond's mind, though, it looks like.
Titan Slam, love it. If you feel like you want to do something and you've got a bow and a chain vest, you can always slam at Titans if you're getting fidgety, right? And it's going to work on tanks. It's going to work on attack damage. And if you put it on a unit that you can sell, it will find a home. Yeah. As this Nidalee going to be even more slippery this time, as this one is going to be, this metaphor is going to be like a greased pig. Can't catch it.
A greased pig, greased cat, they're similar enough, right?
Yeah.
Cougar. Yeah.
Exactly.
It's just a different world.
Allegedly, yep.
Allegedly. Draconic on the board for Elmond. Elmond did get the win with Draconic Ash 3 a couple weeks ago. Might be looking for something similar yet again. Already has the Rage Blade. Level 5, I believe, has some decent gold as well. Yeah, it has 20 gold. Jedi Mind Tricks popping in saying hello. I'm not used to it.
Hi. It's like your dog like coming to see you, right? Hello. I'm here.
Just hey. Okay, goodbye.
Yeah, exactly. So we do have, an okay front line. We did lose the last round after winning the first 3. We want to streak into this PvE round, and it doesn't. Maybe it might happen with that Ash arrow. It's going to be very close if this Callista ult is over.
Yeah,
there it is. So that's good news for Elmond, and only 1 unit loss. So we get to have our streak going into this round, and know that if we streak again, we'll be able to start getting some of that interest.
Yep, 90 HP, double loss streak into Krog, still decent gold. Elmond in a very fine spot at this point. You know who else is in a fine spot? Jedi Mind Tricks, because they are 100 HP. Trying to get some first under their belt after they have got double 8th. Trickster as well is in a actually really good spot. 74 HP with 5 losses. Like, that's super good.
For sure. And what is that? I think we saw someone hit 80 with a 5-loss streak once, which I think might be like the best.
Yeah. In like all my TFT time, I think I've seen like 84 or 86 is the highest. That's like losing by literally only like 1 or 2 units like every time.
Or losing by an abomination for 5 rounds in a row. That was a thing like 8 patches ago. Or something.
If you lose just by A-bomb 5 times in a row, you're literally 95 HP with 5 loss streak. Like that's it's so crazy.
It's possible.
It is possible.
But at 74, we're feeling great, especially since we were able to pick and not necessarily see, hey, we've got a lot to make up, right? Even though Khroen did win that last lobby, it was we're started from the bottom, now we're here type of situation. Some people just don't like playing that way, right? And that's completely okay. That's why TFT is awesome. There's different ways you can play, but Tricksters has proven in the past that this is going to be a great spot to be in. We're doing the Sentinel thing again. Let's see if we're going to be able to reach the same power level as our first lobby where we top forward.
Yunyuki versus Trickster. The Olaf having just tanky items is attacking very, very slow until he gets lower HP, but at that point he's going to get just bursted by this Callista, and yeah, there he goes. Callistas are such fantastic, units at being able to carry in the early game with things like Rage Blades, Hodges, Death Blades as well. Death Blades stack up to like 110 there. Love those items. And Trickster gets some upgrades right now. Ziggs 2, Olaf 2 is now leveling up to 6, has 50 plus gold. And is rolling down, trying to find some upgrades. Another Diana in an early shop.
Yeah, that's tough.
Not the best of units, though, to work with right now.
Not at all. We have good units when they're tier 2'd. In certain team comps, but there's too much of a spread right now. I've been calling these smorgasbords ever since last week, which is like a whole lot of stuff, a whole lot of something, but not a lot of winning potentially. And that is definitely going to be the case, at least for the last 6 rounds. Maybe a little bit more power just by adding a unit onto the board is going to help us out, but it's going to be against Elmond with the Giant Slayer Rageblade. This is a little bit of deja vu, my friend.
There we go. Giant Slayer already having a lot of value against this Olaf with the Warmogs, and that's going to be the reason why that Elmond wins this fight. It is literally a Giant Slayer diff.
And if someone slams a Warmogs and you slam that Giant Slayer, you have a much higher chance of consistently beating that person every time you see them. And any time that you can make anything in TFT predictable, that's really good for you.
100%. Great recognition of the lobby. Another Giant Slayer as well for Jedi Mind Tricks. They are not 100 HP anymore. Did suffer 1 loss in the last round, and it was only by a couple of units, so not like they're weak by any means. But they're definitely falling off a little bit. The Zig's not having any, mana or AP items. Just the Giant Slayer. Doing a great job at scouting and reading the lobby. See if that comes to benefit them. A lot of things on the bench as well, though. Keeping that Lucian pivot open, it looks like. Having double Sennas, a Pike, and an Olaf in here as we see Elmond yet again.
It's going to be against our friend Jedi Mind Tricks. Titan's Resolve doing some good work with that set. But it's going to be the Jedi who's beating the Elmonds this time around. But seeing those eggs on the other side means that, again, the last time we saw Draconic, it won. So we'll see if Elmond's going to be able to do the same thing, and has with that exact same itemization on Ashe in the past.
Stage 3 Carousel. Common Quill grabbing a Jax with a sword. Oftentimes players, of course, in carousels just pick for the item, but sometimes you want to make the item and the unit work out. And Stage 3 Carousel is a great opportunity to do that. Looks like it might just be the sword, as a Common Quill already has an Aphelios on the bench. And a lot of items on the bench as well. 40 HP, perfect stimmy. Let's see it. What's the pivot going to be? What are these eggs going to hatch into? It's just a bunch of gold. So much gold. 69 gold and level 7 on 3-5.
Oh, man. Instead of a quail, you should be a McDuck in that situation, swimming through gold on this board right now. A common quail now is doing a little bit of pivoting. We got a lot to do here, folks. Lots of
Yes.
items and a lot of decisions to make. Quail's usually pretty quick about it, but this time around, look at the focus too.
Okay.
We
Yeah.
did what we needed to do. And now we have a little bit of time to take a little bit of a breather. Probably going to lose this round anyway. 50 gold, leave the things on the bench for a little while longer because our radiant item is coming.
Yeah, you don't really want to, lose at this point. Optimally, you wouldn't. And hey, maybe this was actually gonna be a round win. Maybe just the unit quality now is enough. And against Elmond, it is. Elmond did only have the Ash 1 still, I believe. So a nice snap of this loss streak. I think a Common Quail is going to see what rating option there is. Find a couple of decent ones, actually, between the Stone Plate, Demon Slayer, and Warmog's Pride. There's solid options. The question is, where does a Common Quail want to pivot to for his main carry, and finds a level 7 Heimerdinger as well? Look at his face. He's just like, what? Like, I guess I'll use this. I don't. I mean,
This might work.
yeah. I thought this was a Phelios pivot, but it might actually like not be. Okay, 5 Draconic. A Common Quail is playing with fire right now. This is some TFT greed, especially considering there is still no items on this board, Boop. They're finally going to be starting to be some right now, and that's Shojin's, and that's going to be Demon Slayer.
So, folks, this is what we called being dizzy. I think there was a plan, but it was like half of a plan, and once we got through that half, we were like,
Yeah, I don't
right?
even
Like
think
we
it's
got through
yeah.
the units, right? And then we got to the items. And it was like, oh, there's still so much more to do, right? So, maybe I think maybe you were saying it might not be dizzy, but and maybe you're right. Maybe it was just kind of analysis paralysis instead, which is there's so much to do, you actually do less because of it.
Yeah, I was actually gonna say I don't really think it's even a Common Quill's fault, because like I do think that there's some sense of dizziness there. 100% agree with you. I was saying that I don't really think it's Common Quill's like fault though, because you're not really anticipating to see a Heimerdinger in your level 7 shop, right? Like that's not really something you ever plan for. But with that in mind, he's thinking like, okay, now can I get away with it? And you're not going to again be prepared for that scenario, so it's a lot easier to get dizzy as opposed to where if you want to continue with your Aphelios trajectory there, because the Rage Blade, the Demon Slayer is gonna be great for Aphelios as well. You just find a healing item. There was potential for a BT there, and I think you're kind of all set. It's weird though. It's definitely a weird spot. Move on over to Trickster, who just got the Radiant Blessing as well. Common Quill levels 8 already on 4-1. That's kind of crazy. What's Trickster gonna do? Looks like play Lucian.
Again, worked out the first time. No, hasn't worked out the last 2 times. I think Trickster's was the double Giant Slayer Lucian from last lobby.
Yeah.
So we've got the itemization moderately there. Jewel Gauntlet's nice on the Lucian, if that is going to be where this ends up at the end of the day. We've got the Ironclads in the front line. We have attack speed when it comes to the Lulu, which is something a lot of people really undervalue.
Oh yeah. It is pretty good. With Lucian, maybe a bit less so. He's going to be culling right now. And does he take down the Callista? No. Only has a Jewel Gauntlet. Doesn't even have the Jewel Gauntlet IE pairing. Will now take her out. And the Galio, with these 3 fantastic frontline items, did give him enough time. Oh, a glove coming through with the 4-2 Armory. That's big. That really upgrade as well. Now we're getting something online here for Trickster. Might consider leveling up on 4-5 to level 8. Oh, wait a minute. Wait. Oh. All right. Does it now? So I don't like this from Trickster, actually, because we only are on 1 Lucian and 1 Galio. Even if you win every single round in stage 4, which I don't even think is guaranteed, you're going to have to use this whole stage to just econ back up so that you roll down after Raptors and maybe hit one of your 4 costs, let alone having to hit both of them. It's kind of weird.
You're splitting attention. I saw Quail playing that way not too long ago, but definitely has already given up on it. But yeah, we've got the Galio in the front line with great items, but we'll start feeling a little flimsy here in just a second unless we tier 2 it. Look at that Heimerdinger 2 already. We saw that as a pivot I believe. So
Yep.
the Heimerdinger 2 is there. We already have another Nikos. We have a Heimerdinger on the bench. So Heimerdinger 3 might be on the menu as we see another Lucian
Yeah.
here for Crispy Burger, and she's going to try to repeat that top 4 from before the half.
Definitely possible. Crispy Burger already rocking the Lucian 2. Is on level 7 though, so a bit of a trade-off, right? It's rolling on level 7 versus pushing levels to 8. As for Lucian, so is even making it that much more scary for Trickster to maybe not hit the Lucian upgrade. No frontline items as well for Crispy Burger. She's in a rough spot in that regard. Hopefully his next carousel, PvE rounds, and armory does do something good for her though.
Trying to maintain that crispiness. What's your favorite burger place, Khroen?
There's actually a place that I've discovered in Austin near my recently named like Umami Burger, and I've ordered it a couple of times, and it's very, very good. They had like a get one free deal for a while, so I was like, yeah, this is value. And it was super, super good.
Yeah, I'm a classic. I like Five Guys.
Those are good too. Those are definitely good.
It's definitely the fries with the vinegar. So also Culver's, if you've ever had it, is pretty good. Because when I think crispy burger, that's what I think of. Because the edges are really crispy on that burger. Oh, so good. It's a butter burger. So crispy burger making me a little bit hungry right now. Hungry for a win for the next round potentially. So we actually do lose, putting us into a good position to pick second. Tricksters and Common Quail struggling a little bit. Everyone in the top 4 pretty close. The power level for this lobby pretty even. Same story, except this one's been even throughout as we see our first 6 Sentinel board of the night.
Yeah, a lot of Sentinels, at least on that board. A lot of Legionnaires on this board as well, actually. Going to 5. Yunyuki. See what these shops are going to bring. They're going to level up to 8 now and roll down. A lot of gold to do so. Could be an Aphelios, and yes, already 2. Just needs 1 more. That would be a fantastic pivot. Need to actually land on the Aphelii, though. Aphelioses. Where are they?
I wonder if it's like moose, right? So it's Aphelios. Just kidding. So it would be just Aphelios.
Yes.
Yeah, Aphelios. Correct. Yeah, just like feet. But no, I'm in a weird mood, man. 57 HP. Second, tied for second place. Not very far from first. This is where the power levels of a lot of our units are going to become very clear. That's going to be a Mistral on the Jax, which is going to be a very terrible situation for the Jax. It's going to mean that the ramp up is going to happen a little bit later. We already have that 25 on the Titans. This isn't over yet. No jump there. But this is going to be a win. Tier 1 units not going to be able to overcome that fully stacked Titans and those items.
Jack says, you can't ever hide from me. He's going to be CC'd for 10 seconds, come back down and said, hey, I'm still here. I'm still on this board. And not really a great hit there for Yunyuki, because they really would have liked to, I think if they already had the Aphelios 2, have the Akshan items on Aphelios as well. But they're going to be greeting out for the Akshan 2. Try to make him work with the carry. Lucian on this board with Crispy Burger has some decent items. 6 Sentinel. Couple 6 Sentinel boards. Yeah, I mean, you've done this to yourself.
That was my fault. 100% my fault. Crispy Burger now looking over at Juke Yu, who still has a Nikos on that bench, 50 gold as well. So still having a lot of opportunity on that board. Sitting in first place, seems to like playing from ahead. That Pike is going to get a nice stun onto almost everybody on the team. And now it's up to this Lucian. Already Lucian 2, and I do want to point out that we have 2 Sentinel 6 players right now, Khroen being the other one. So Crispy and Khroen going to be competing for some units until one of them inevitably falls. And right now, it is going to be Crispy who has that potential. But Khroen did get that Draven too, so we might be pivoting already.
And I think that's nice, recognizing that, hey, things are a bit too contested. The other player is already on 4 Lucians, might be somebody else even going for it as well. And so, recognizing, hey, I'm going to make use of this Draven board. It's still a solid carry, still can win lobbies. Going to be more likely to hit maybe a 3-star carry at that point, because I think Khroen was in a spot, a couple of games ago, or last game, excuse me, where, would have maybe liked to push, or no, it was a couple of games ago, would have liked to push for a tier 3 carry, but just wasn't able to because they were contested. Now 5-1 Radiant Armory comes through. The second one, Frozen Art of Gold might be a nice choice. Probably the only choice, at least out of this set of items.
Oh, our Draconic player has set 3. I believe that's Elmond. Second Radiant item for Crispy. I would love to see some utility and defense right now because we don't really have a lot. Everyone from Plat and below would pick Deathblade, guarantee you.
Would they though? I mean,
I think so. I think Deathblade is one of the biggest bait items in the world. I don't know.
That's the thing. There's no who cares. You just pick the item. It looks shiny. It's great. Pick it.
Yeah, sell the Lucian and rebuild it with the Deathblade.
Remake it, add some bold moves. And hey, players might do it. They're like, oh, I'll find it again. He'll come back.
Oh man, but again, I say it because there are a couple items I think a lot of people just get naturally gravitated to because they're just fun. Yeah. Rageblade being one of them. Rageblade being in a good spot right now, but not always being that kind of item. So just because you have your preferences, sometimes they're not going to lead you to the win, unfortunately, and that's kind of the deal there with some of these item changes and some of these Radiant items. And now we're getting into the nitty gritty. No one has really taken off in terms of power. Elmon with the set 3, rocking a pretty strong front line. The back line missing a little bit of damage, especially if those items on Ashe are not going to be on Aphelios, which should be the name of the game here, especially since we're not playing any Draconics at the moment. But we're looking for an Ashe 3 instead of running with Aphelios 2 with items.
Yeah, that's going to be just that. It's going to be looking for Ashe 3. Has rolled down a lot of gold, though, and is still 2 off. See if it's enough. The Ashe does not get hit by the Heimerdinger ultimate. That's big, and this set is getting some okay angles. He gets to heal up a little bit with that Fist of Fairness, but the double Titans, he's just still alive. And it's still going to be alive this whole fight. What? 11,000 damage. Set has gone to the gym every day this week, not missed a single day. He's big, he's thick, he is here to punch.
Look at those gains, friends, not missing leg day either. Those squats are happening, those curls are happening, and those gains have happened. Let's see if that set is going to look the same when some of our other units get better, right? There's a little bit of a slower lobby, especially compared to our first 2. Yeah. So it's a little bit different here, as 18 HP is a much stronger position than 18 HP would be, in the last lobby. As Frodan finally does get that Galio, that should be really nice. But what Elmon needs to do right now is figure out exactly where to invest the power. It looks like they have decided into that Ashe again. This next carousel, though, might give an opportunity to put some power into the Aphelios, but the Ashe falls immediately because of the Draven with the Hodge and the IE. Juke you double Gargoyle Stoneplate on the Galio as well. It's going to be really tough, especially after that Galio ults, to take it down. Extra AD on Daisy being seen here from 2 patches ago, mattering right now, as Teemo is going to be the last remaining unit for Elmond. No Cruel just yet. Teemo 2, though, probably would have been able to do it.
That was a lot closer a fight than I thought it would be, and that was a Draven positioning difference, right? You put your Draven right in front of the enemy carry, and he retargets very quickly. Took out the Ashe. A common Quail is running 2 Heimers, and this was what we were talking about earlier. Could be a Heimer 3, but no, Draconics are not going to be played anymore. There's only 1 Nikos. Could still play 2 Heimer 2s, and that would be solid depending on the items that a common Quail is able to procure. Is getting an AP 1 off of this carousel. Trickster also did go 8th, unfortunately.
It looks like he got an Archangels.
Yeah.
So the Archangels will go on the other Heimerdinger?
I mean, yeah, definitely. I would say there's nowhere else really to put it, unless we're talking about something like a Syndra just to give the mana over. But if you're playing another Heimer, you might as well do it. And yeah, Common Quail is going to make that happen. Scouting going on as well. 4 Renewer for these Heimers is really, really big as well.
All right. We got a couple Draven players, which has done a lot better today than it has been in a while. So both of the Dravens doing okay. This is one of our Dravens. We
Diana.
Just saw it. The Draven did, completely destroy Elmon last round. It was this Draven, not a lot of damage from the Heimerdinger, but there is going to be a second Heimerdinger ult here soon. We've got the Giant Slayer again. It's going to one-shot the Draven, but that's going to be a ghost, so that is not going to eliminate anybody, as this is a very close lobby. This is going to go round by round in terms of who we're going to find in that top 4, and it looks like it's going to continue being that way. I don't remember the last time we had the possibility of having 7 players at this point in the game, but that could definitely happen, especially with some of our bottom players becoming a little bit stronger. It still is anybody's game. It truly is. No one has run away with this just yet.
Definitely. I mean, first place is only 34 HP. That's not very high. Well, 7th place is on 7. Lobby is super, super close. Elmond hits Ash 3 as well. That is a big, big, big hit. That is what Elmond won a lobby with a couple weeks ago. Could look to do it again. For now, we're looking at a Common Quail versus Crispy Burger. The Lucian versus the Heimerdinger. Where are these Heimer ults going to go? Does the Lucian, is he able to take out some turrets? No, not in time. Gets hit by the first one, gets hit by the second one, but the Bloodthirster, the Hodge healing, both of it is there. He's getting another cast, but he cannot get through everything. It is just too much frontline. Crispy Burger out in 7th. Khroen hanging on for now. Jedi Mind Trick's taking a loss. Same with Yuki. This lobby is still so close. Minus Juki, who has pulled away just a little bit towards the top end.
You know, sometimes I watch and I'm like, man, I want to play. You know, you know what I mean? Just to experience this, but not this lobby. I'd be so stressed right now. This is actually some of the closest TFT we've had over a 4 lobby period for a while. So we're going to be looking over at Juke, who definitely has an advantage where other people have 1 losses. Frodan, for example, Juke has about 3. And we're going only into 6-1. So a lot of damage has been done. 6 people total will be coming into round 6. Everyone's already close by. So it's going to be a battle for the 4 cost units. If we're getting to level 9, tier 2ing those 4 costs and 5 costs, because it's going to be inches that take you to the victory at this point rather than big jumps.
Definitely. We see a potential Jax 3 in the future. Oh, actually hits it right now. Jedi Mind Tricks might be turning these 8th places around. I mean, definitely turning them around at least, but will they be able to turn all the way around into a first? Jukyu is greeting. They know that they're not going to be out in just 1 hit, as you said. Going to be dodging all the Zephyrs as well. There's like 2 Radiant Zephyrs in the front line. Hits the Galio, but what can Draven accomplish right here, being in the front line? He's going to be able to get through the Sejuani and turn his attention into the Akshan in the back, takes him out. Yuki, that is terrible for them, and this might be enough to take Yuki out. The Draven's still alive, same with the Galio. Only 2 units. But this loss means that Yuki is not going to be eliminated, though. If it was more, and any more, Yuki would be out. But Yuki survives with 1. A Common Quail does go out, though. Same with Frodan.
Yep,
again, Frodan pops off the first couple of games. Games 3 and 4, though. Not going so hot.
That's where the metal really gets tested, right? So going into the top 4, though, and Yuki at 1 HP, you know, the single unit losses at the very beginning of the game start coming into play right now, especially with, again, 5 being the difference between 2nd and 3rd. And this, you know, a double HP lead right now against Elmond for Juke should be able to hold on. This Draven seems to be performing very well, but this comp is the one I'd be scared of. It is the set with the Ashe and the Aphelios now. Bad Thieves Gloves roll, though. Could have been much better. A double trap claw, very beneficial so far, as the Diana unable to get that ultimate off, and it's going to be the Ashe 3 in Lobby 3 competing for the lobby win again by Elmond, as the set finally does fall, and that set looks like a raid boss throughout most of this game. So far.
I mean, fortunately for Juke, the set didn't target the Draven initially. It actually targeted the Thresh, but now it's only 1 Draven off and is going to hit it. The Nico's help is there, but yeah, you might as well greet it. Roll down, right? See if you can hit something else, like a Viego 2. But before this round is over, preparation phase is over, Juki will be turning this into a Draven 3. That last round was a loss, but this one will not be. Oh, it's actually looking for the Galio 2 as well. Jeez.
Here it is. Draven 3. Lost the last round.
3 as well. Jedi Mind Tricks, I believe, has that Jax 3. Elmond as well, the Ashe 3. It's just a battle of 3 starred carries.
All right, here we go. Which 3-star carry is the best? Is it the Jax or is it the Draven? I.e. Last Whisper on this Draven, going to get a little bit more of that shred. Most of the time it's going to be one hit, but here is the real battle. Is it going to be Draven versus Jax? And it's going to be the Draven. Jax 3, get out of here. You're going to have to go home, my friend. As Elmond going to be competing for second place, should be fine at 17 HP against Juke U. So that is going to be an Elmond loss. 3 HP to 18. Draven 3 is the one to beat.
Ooh, that's a potential kill too. No Gallios here. Juka, yeah, probably just gonna pick it up. I don't think there's any reason for anything else. We're gonna see Draven 3 versus Ashe 3. Now, depending on the set positioning, the set could turn this all around, right? The positioning of this Draven and the set is going to be so important. It could still go either way.
Kale 2 appearing on the board with Thorn Mail. Those are the types of itemizations that you really don't like. Then all of a sudden it becomes Kale versus one other person and there's no crits and Kale wins, right? So, these games are getting so close that might actually come into play. Kale, though, helping us get to 4 Legion Air. This positioning is going to be pretty intense. We're actually putting the Draven in the
front
middle
yeah.
of everyone right now. We do have the Trap Claw, so we are going to be able to take a couple of these CC. Oh, I don't think they're well connected, so we still have the Trap Claw available for the Draven. Are we even going to need it? Yes, we are. It's going to go on with the Teemo Shrooms. Draven 3 will take the lobby this time around for the second tier 3 4-cost unit to win today, being Lucian the other way. But Draven finally gets a lobby win. It feels like it's been a while, but welcome back, King. You're on top of the leaderboard.
There we go. Draven getting the win. Jukyu today is just a 3-star 4-cost Whisperer. First the Lucian, now the Draven. It's hard to play for those routes, right? You can't always guarantee them, but if you get a good opener and you sacrifice enough HP, right? HP is a resource, then you can actually get these carries online. Nico's help being the kind of icing on the cake there. Let's take a look at the scores, as we know who's going to be on top of it. It's Jukyu now with a couple of first places, but not too far behind. Going to be that so Khroen, a common Quail. Then there's a bit of a jump right into that fourth place slot. We have Crispy Burger, an Elmond, Trickster, Yunyuki, and Jedi Mind Tricks. A solid third there coming back. It's going to be hard to get into the top 4. Jedi Mind Tricks would still be able to do that. Top 3 probably a bit out of reach, though. But this 4th and 3rd place spots are going to be really intense. Even 2nd, right? Jukyu is really the only person to have established that far enough of a lead to be comfortable with securing the top 3.
So the top 3, like you said, feeling pretty locked in right now. No one technically eliminated Jedi Mind Tricks, the closest, but this top 3 can still compete for first place as well. So, we see it all the time, right? Coming into the 4th lobby, whoever is leading in the 4th lobby tends to struggle into the last lobby. So that could potentially be the case here, but Jukyu's been playing really good, really consistent in a pretty consistently close group of players today. So you're probably feeling good about that. It's going to be a fight for 2nd, most likely. Or, you never know if Jukyu eighths this lobby, anything can happen. And, everything is up for consideration at that point.
It definitely is, and we've seen that happen multiple times before, Boop. A player coming in with this dominant of a lead does go like 7th or 8th, and it opens up the whole lobby. It opens up the scenario of Khroen or Quail to, take a first place and take the tournament. We'll just have to see, though. But, we're already seeing a lot of, again, it is back to those 4-cost units getting 3-starred. The Jax, we saw that game as well. And Elmond, once again, rocking the Ashe. Very comfortable with that Draconic opener, but going for the Ashe, and we haven't really seen that out of really anybody else. Does, of course, end up getting a 2nd place with that, as we do get into game number 4, our last game of the day, Boop, on board with Jukyu.
So, man, Jax 3, I don't know if it's me, but the last time I saw Jax 3, I got 5th. At EU finals.
Oh no.
Yeah. So I don't trust it. You know what I mean? And it keeps proving that Draven 3 used to be the joke, but right now Jax 3, at least in that lobby, it made it run trues. We're going to start with Juke, and this is very intriguing. Anytime you get a Draconic unit in one of those orbs, in my opinion, you think about it.
Yeah, definitely do. Misfortune as well. The Misfortune Reroll comp got 5th earlier, but it still can do well in lobbies. Gonna be pairing it with some knights for now. The poppy pair might get sold because you don't want the glove to be stuck on the poppy. Let's see what Jukyu's able to find.
What I would do if I'm in this lobby, right, and seeing on a bird's view is no one has really played reroll. We saw one reroll comp, right? So it might be time to hit that Riven Italy that we saw at Worlds. Just saying. Just saying. No, or just in general, sometimes it's nice to kind of make this a little different, right? Make everyone kind of compete against you, all like an assassin player, right?
Yep.
When you have an assassin player in your lobby, everyone has to adjust, right? So if you're high rolling, if you're re-rolling, you get that tier 3 one cost super early, everyone has to respond. So sometimes you like that kind of control, and I would love to see some reroll comps this time around. You know my opinion on reroll comps, Khroen. So me saying this, really rings true in terms of, if you're in that third place spot right now and you're trying to compete for second or first, it might be the two things that you're gonna do is either run something you've already done, right? Or I think run something that has been totally different to change everything up, make everyone even again. So, that's just me. I'm not competitively as good as these peeps, but I still think at the end of the day, it would still be beneficial to run some type of reroll comp, especially since a lot of these comps have been getting a little slow. A reroll comp in that last lobby would have absolutely destroyed it.
It definitely had the potential to, I would say, for sure, based off of the slowness of the early game. Sure, things really kind of heat up towards the end of it because players are greeting. They get to, save a bunch of gold at level 8 or push level 9. And that's how they get those 3-star carries online. Jukyu gonna not have a good opener here. No items they want to slam. No units to really consider leveling up to 4-4. Do pick up the pair of Grogses over the Aatroxes, which is interesting, considering that the items lean more into a kind of Aatrox potential route. Speaking of reroll, we saw it a couple times at Worlds as well. The Chug Bug potential is here, and with another Kha'Zix in the shop. Nah, it doesn't look like Yunyuki's thinking of it, though. More so just saying, okay, this is my strongest board right now, and I'm going to pivot at some point to these rats, to these Hellions. The matter at hand here is when we pivot over.
Whew. All right. Good itemization potential here, but we're probably going to keep ourselves flexible. We sold a couple things just then, getting our 2 knights. Dawnbringer is going to be nice. This is a potential round winning or like lose by 1 unit type of board. We could compete on this one. Very similar type of vibe, but
Ooh.
the Bloodthirster. So this is going to be... Bloodthirst is a lot less flexible than a lot of other items that you're going to see. So this is strictly a couple units, being things like Jax or Aphelios.
Oh, no. Slams it and doesn't even get any unit kills out of it either. That's the biggest kind of slap in the face there with that item slam. But the slam itself makes me think that Yunyuki has recognized that this lobby wants to build a lot of AP. Otherwise, a BT slam is frankly just kind of like wrong in a lot of scenarios. I will say it. Yeah, it's wrong unless you're going up against a lot of AP, because the shield you talked about earlier goes up against the Vel'Koz, and it's really, really good. These AP compositions, even Karmas as well, gives the flat magic resistance.
And I'm not sure if you were here when the Heimerdinger got literally won a lobby because they had a Bloodthirster on it.
I believe so. I think it was just like, oh, I happen to have that in the end game. Heimer can use it. It's just there for the shield.
Popped.
Yeah,
shield popped. We ulted and we won the round, right? So it's not completely useless. Guaranteed shield is very nice, especially against this particular kind of comp like Misfortune, because the shield's going to do a lot more against that kind of damage over time than that burst damage. And we do find the Misfortune in the back line. Kha'Zix's so good in the early game, not a lot to defend against in terms of assassins, unless you particularly position against it or build a very, very early Thornmail. But this Kha'Zix should be okay, especially with the Dawnbringer as well.
Yeah, hopefully with this, Yunyuki's able to turn this streak fully around and 3-streak up until Krugs, but looking at this board, it doesn't look like it is guaranteed to do that. And if Yunyuki has already dropped, down to 86 before winning, it's just a very risky style of play. Gonna be picking up the glove here, I believe that was. Can't make this into an IE. Not gonna be making a shroud right now, it's just not gonna be worth it. Moving on over to Trickster. 100 HP. Same with Crispy Burger and a common Quail. Trickster did start off the day very, very well with a second, but since then has gotten the 6th and then an 8th. Still can contest the top 3 position though, but that does require a common Quail to bottom out in this lobby, but it is possible.
The rest of the lobby, really wants Juke to struggle here, especially number 2 and 3, which is Frodan and a common Quail, and that would be very beneficial for both of them if Juke gets 7th or 8th. It opens up the win for the rest of the lobby. It doesn't quite open up top 3, but say Quail and Juke also bottom out, then all of a sudden everything is over. So even if you think hope is lost, it truly isn't until the final scores are tallied at the end of the game. And we have another very early Nidalee this time. We saw it work really, really well with the Hodge. This time it's going to be the Bloodthirster.
Multiple Bloodthirster slams. It's definitely weird, in my opinion, but it is going to allow Trickster at least to continue this win streak moving forward, which, you love slamming items. I think there's really a big benefit in slamming items if it does protect the streak. And a pair of Nidalees, perhaps an Aurelia as well. It would mean that Trickster cannot make 30 gold, but I think that's okay. Making the board just more powerful right now to continue the streak is what Trickster needs to prioritize. And between the Bramble, the Cannon 2, the Nidalee, it's already looking pretty good to do that, seeing as Common Quail and Crispy Burger have both, lost at this point. Trickster trying to be the sole 100 HP win streaker into Krugs.
Okay. Oh man, I love the 4th lobby, especially when, not everything is, settled already. A lot of things can happen. Juke in this position, whoever's in the mid tier in this position is either just keeping themselves flexible or are trying to get to the bottom. But if you alternate win and losses here, in my opinion, that's the worst case scenario. That means your economy is just bonked, right? You're only going to get it through what the game passively does for you. You want to streak, and so if you are in the middle of the lobby at this point in time, you aren't streaking. Definitely. So that could be an issue later on. You're not going to see it impact now, but when you're poor in 3 rounds, that might be why. As this is looking like a reroll composition.
Yeah, we got a reroll comp online. Frodan has 5 loss streaks successfully, made some gold, made some decent items to the vein. Now we get to see where this will go. But also, since we're in a Krug round, we get a moment of reprieve. I just want to remind you, Boop, about the story you were alluding to earlier. Is this time for it? Is it a quick enough story?
Oh yeah, how I cried my way into the gold medal. Yes. So I was in Taekwondo. I thought I was pretty good at it, right? And I went to a competition and I crushed wood breaking. I crushed form, right? But really, the whole goal is sparring, right? Yeah. So they put me in a group with a bunch of kids who were younger than me. I was 16 years old at the time, and maybe not all there. And so we end up sparring, and I get last, and I lose it. I just put the waterworks on, and they felt so bad for me. I come home and realize I have 3 gold medals.
Oh man,
what an awful lesson to teach somebody. Right? What did I learn that day?
I don't know. Crying gives you what you want. That's what.
It would have been awful. But that is the story of how I was able to finagle my way into a completely undefeated Taekwondo competition.
Nice. Perfect timing as we go into 3-1. Frodan does continue the loss streak, and still only 4 veins. Not the best spot to be in for this composition. Especially the 2 tiers. 2 tiers are really rough.
That's such a Boop story. Anyway, Frodan now. Yeah, exactly. That's something that you're I believe that. You cried. It's yep, you are that competitive. Yep. Now I've just had to lean into the complete other direction of just being ridiculous. You know what I mean? So I can just blame it on that. I've done a lot of growing in the last almost 20 years. Jesus.
I mean, I would hope you have.
Seriously.
20 years.
my stomach definitely did during quarantine, so hopefully the rest of my mental did as well. As Quail's going to be on board right now. We've got the stone plate on the Aurelia 1. The Lee Sin's going to be a little bit better of a tank, but we have the Jax as well. So this says Sentinel written on it, but we could potentially move over into that Yasuo if we choose items here. Interesting.
Common Quail rocking the skirmishers. Aurelia carrying the gargoyles, and it might be good enough to win this round versus Yunyuki, and it looks like it will. The rats, even when they come back, are not going to have enough damage. Lee Sin 2, really good upgrade. A Jax as well, but it doesn't have any items. We've seen Jax carries do very well in stage 3 and even into 4, but a common Quail has not that much gold to work with, right? It rolled to get this board, a Vel'Koz on the bench, which I think a Vel'Koz pivot is actually still possible. The Shojin's potential is there, but we still have a very long way to go, especially being this low of gold. I mean, Nunu in the shop, though, A-bomb, the pivot, it could happen.
It could happen. It definitely could happen, but these items aren't necessarily our favorite. A Zeke's could be nice to enhance our already created carry, but it's not really something that you are truly wanting to slam this early. The only times I've really seen it are when there's really no other choice. You're about to lose, or on like a Nocturne back in the day. So we've got Stoneplate and Sunfire Cape on the Olaf here with Jedi Mind Tricks, who pulled off 7 points last round. And we have a Nidalee with a glove as well. So these Nidalees definitely showing up in the early game, but getting, feral by the end of the, this round, and everyone kind of giving them back.
Let's see. Will Lee Sin 2 be able to do it? I mean, there's no... Okay, gets another ult off. Senna gonna ult, but no, the lifesteal from the Olaf, a bit too good. Puts a common Quail right back to the losses. Jedi Mind Tricks wins as we go into stage 3. Carousel Boop. Ophelia with the sword there, Vel'Koz with the sword, both appealing options for these lower HP players. Speaking of low HP players, Khroen is already on 29 HP. Was that just like a massive hit last round, or did we miss the stimmy? We might have just been a big hit.
Yeah, it looks like it. This is the risk of that reroll is not hitting, right?
Yeah.
You hit, you look like a genius. You don't hit, you look like you don't know how to play the game sometimes, right? And so we just got to hit, right? Sometimes you just got to hit. And in this situation, I feel like it is a little bit of a just hit, right? Yeah. So we have a lot of gold. And so here is that stimmy. 2 Thieves' Gloves.
Okay. Not the best for this composition. I'm going to say it. Components would have been big. We don't have any tank items for the Hecarim right now, which really makes me think that we just have to slam one of these Thieves' Gloves in the Hecarim and roll down until the Vayne 3. But Vayne doesn't even have a Rage Blade at this point. There's nothing else. Hopefully the rating item is going to be, big for this Vayne. But still 2 Vaynes off. Like, this is such a terrible spot to be in. Froden's definitely looking like they're going to go 8th. Okay, a nice Banshee's Claw, but it doesn't hit the Vayne. Maybe even Varus is going to be doing more damage to the Vayne, though, at this point in time. So, like, maybe not even terrible.
Our front line rolled a very friendly Banshees, or Thieves' Glove, sorry. And so that is going to help us win. That roll, I love Thieves' Gloves because of, like, the entertainment of the rolls. Like seeing Sunfire Cape on Teemo just tickles me, right? But in this situation, it's probably the difference between a round win, especially with the Trap Claw on the Thresh too. But how many times in a row are you going to be able to do that? For some people, it's every round, it feels like, right?
Yeah.
For others, it's never. As we go into the Radiant item, and we do have some cool opportunities here. Zeke's Harmony could be it. We have another Ruin's Tempest if you want to spread the love a little bit more. No Rage Blade, but it could be worse here.
Yeah, I think there's 4 potential options here. Anything besides the Luminous Deathblade, but without having a attack speed already online for the Vayne means that you're gonna want some, and that's going to be provided with the Zeke's Harmony. Also, a bit of lifesteal as well. The big thing is to get the Rage Blade online. The fact that Radiant Armory didn't hit a Rage Blade was pretty devastating for Khroen. And we still haven't hit the Vayne. Roll down to 30 gold. Still Vayne 3. The Radiant, the Thieves' Gloves for the Hecarim is not as good as last time. Not bad though. Still some resistances. And it's going to be enough to win the round, it looks like. But maybe I'm speaking too soon. The Nidalee is still alive. Okay, she gets taken out. Khroen continues the wins. But man, still a long way away from being in a good spot. Even once we hit the Vayne 3, still need the Hecarim 3, the Thresh 3, need to level up to 6, find the Draven or Misfortune. Okay, here we go. Finally starting to get something good with that passive shop netting Vayne 3. But again, still a long way to go.
And the Zeke's the whole point of it, right, is so you technically don't have to build attack speed on a unit like Vayne or Kale or Nocturne, right? I think Nocturne and Tristana might be two of the Zeke's people that we've seen in the past most often. But this double Zeke's does compensate for a
That's
Rage Blade. You
true.
might not reach the peak that a Rage Blade's gonna hit that Vayne kind of needs, like at the very later stages of the game. But the hit isn't as bad, right? We're
Yep.
going to get to about 60 to 75% of what that is going to be anyway, right? Especially after that Ranger proc hits. So we're okay with that. We're okay with that. It's just we're not going to hit the highs that we wanted to hit. And that are possible to hit. As
Yep.
Oman now going to be rocking, an AD comp, I think, for one of the first times that we've seen them as a player use in Fight Night. And
Yeah.
GQ not doing what Frodan and everyone wants them to do at this point, which is bottom out. But you never know. 76 HP, there's still not a lot of information, as the rest of the lobby outside of Anyuke and Frodan all very close to each other.
Leona very tanky. Has it bought enough time for the Aphelios? Gets the ult off, but not able to take down the Yasuo. It was super close. Has to sell a Hecarim to make economy. Frodan going back to losing. Oh man, tragic. Elmond, besides for the Ashe, yeah, you're definitely right. Has not really ran that many AD comps, if any, besides for Ashe boards. Ooh, another Aphelios. And now the question is, are we going to roll down and try to stabilize here? Try to just play for a consistent fourth lobby placement? I mean, Elmond is currently in, I believe it's 5th place overall, has 13 points. So maybe it needs to, play for a top 2 placement. Maybe he needs to be greeting out for a little bit longer. These rolls aren't really connecting on that much. See what he's going to be able to grab. We're going to be popping over to our cams real quick as we try to get back into the game.
Yeah, we'll keep you updated through our voices here. So, as of right now, it seems like Crispy Burger and Juke doing quite well. Frodan sitting at 20 HP. I know that's what a lot of people are interested in at the moment. Third Zeke's Herald on the Varus for Frodan. So, and the Rage Blade for the Vayne. And that must have been a really nice Reforger. So, this has all of a sudden become a very competitive comp, unless it gets CC'd 3 times in a row like it just did. But it's still okay. Vayne's still alive, and the cannon goes away, and we're feeling okay about this so far. The Vayne popping off right now. Frodan surviving another day might actually get out of 8th place for the first time all game. Did that happen? As we did go up against another level 6 player? No, but we're very close to getting there. The rest of the lobby, again, still very close.
Yunyuki at 21 HP, Frodan at 20, and the 6th place player at 51. Big HP gap there between everybody. There's a couple Lucian boards already. One of them even had Lucian 2. I believe the Yasuo player might actually be rerolling for the Yasuo 3. There was a couple of Yasuos on the bench. Oh, Frodan's Thresh's Thief Glove roll. This Thresh hook is going to be hitting for some big damage. That's what I'm looking at in this fight. Can it one-shot the Ashe? I don't even have time for it. Here we go. Bang.
It's the only time you'll ever see that, friends.
Yeah.
That might be one of the only times, especially with the auto crit, i.e. Jeweled Gauntlet, on that. What are even the stats on that? If anyone has read
damage,
into it.
Big.
Yeah. Apparently, remember when Hellion Thrush was a thing for a hot minute? Still kind of is.
I mean, yeah, you can.
Yeah. So we have our 5 cost units appearing on our carousel, Gwen and Heimer, and it is going to be the crit glove for Frodan. Elmon looking around, I believe, has already chosen. Trickster's sitting with a Nika. So this is actually really good news for our bottom players. It does not seem like these comps are super strong at all, other than a potential Lucian 2, as you said. So yeah, this Vayne could actually be the best one on the board right now. It's all about how long can we stick around. I haven't seen a Vayne comp win in a very long time, but this is the kind of lobby that can make it happen, as it's going to be Tristana 3 for Unyuki. So that's got to be pretty scary for everyone above us, as Trickster's now going to find out, probably already knows what's in that orb. It's those 2 Thief's Gloves.
Oh man, I can see the ping that Trickster has to work with right here. It's kind of crazy. Must be playing from somewhere not in North America, it's looking like. But their items for the Aphelios are going to be very, very good. The rolls, however, were kind of underwhelming. Didn't even hit a pair of Aphelioses to be Nicoing that into tier 2. And the Riven finds her way there. It might be okay, though. Okay, Frozen Heart Slam onto the cannon as well. Is going to be the difference between winning and losing this round. It might have been. At attack speed slow for just a little bit. Allowed Trickster to win. Still needs to be rolling down some more, though. This composition, kind of lucky that it won that round, is not yet stable, though.
Okay, Unyuki, even with the Tristana 3, not enough to win that round, and we're starting to hit our tier 2 4 cost unit. It's really late, like we said before. It's going to be the Galio for a Common Quail at round 4-6, and even on this board, there isn't a tier 2 force cost unit to be seen.
Okay.
But we do have a tier 2 5 cost, and there is that 4 cost along with a Nico, so we actually can be pretty flexible here, and that roll for that Thief's Gloves, not awful. Could be a little bit better, but not awful. Garen is pretty good at using most things.
Double RFC and Zeke's Thieves Gloves rolls. Yeah, not the best, but not the worst. Oliver providing some good CC is going to Khroen here. This is a big round for Khroen. If he can continue stemming the bleeding, looks like maybe possible. Oh, the Thresh Hook is CCing the Aphelios. Trickster takes a hit. Khroen is going to be able to go level 8 soon, maintains that 50 gold on a 4 streak. Unyuki won that round as well at 14 HP.
Yeah, we were at level 5 at the beginning of round 4, I believe. And now we're competing to potentially go to 8. That's how well this Vayne comp has been working. We're on fire. Khroen seems to do really well when they're on the brink. It seems like they kind of like lock in. You know, there's just some people who play better when there's a lot to lose. Right?
Yep.
And you don't want to fall out of that top 3. And some people just under pressure, they release something into the world that makes them play even better. It's like that kind of like, there are some certain people who play better at LAN, right?
Yeah.
That's just a fact.
LAN
same thing. Yeah, same thing when it comes to situations like this, as Khroen wins a 4th round in a row with these Krugs, with this PvE round leading into the Radiant round, and we'll see if Khroen's going to be able to continue that win streak going through round 5-1, because it doesn't really seem like the power level is necessarily incredibly competitive right now.
Definitely not. Yeah. Wow,
yeah. Okay. Trickster did find a Teemo too, so that is something that's going to deal with the Vayne quite well.
Definitely, especially if those shrooms are able to hit the Vayne. Like the first set of Teemo shrooms dictate a lot of fights, especially into attack speed or attack damage focused carries, and that's gonna be big. What's big as well is Jukyu playing this lobby to have an HP lead, pushing levels very, very early, not necessarily playing to win the lobby, but playing to maintain that first place. I absolutely love it. They just need to dodge, like 6th place at the worst, and they're probably going to be your Fight Night Rising victor.
100%. I think that a lot of people might get a little too ahead of themselves 1st or 8th this, but all we needed to do for Jukyu was top 4, probably. And like you said, top 6 is probably enough, as the Vayne on Khroen gonna take down Jukyu.
Triple Zeeks.
Triple Zeke's Vayne, and that Radiant Zeke's, and then into Zeke's for that Varus, looking almost super genius at this point in time. Only, it's like hindsight is 2020, because there are 3 Zeke's. It's really awesome. It almost makes the Rage Blade not be.
It's like 110% attack speed between all 3 of those Zeke's, I believe. It was 60% for the 2, and then Radiant gives 50% attack speed. It's big attack speed there. Gonna be getting that 5 attack speed cap pretty quickly.
When the attack speed on Vayne gets really fast, it looks like her arm is like clipping. It's moving so quickly. But this is going to be a nice little test here. The Draven versus the Vayne. A couple forgottens. We do have a pretty strong frontliner there. The Diana completely whiffs. Viego, beautiful ult in the back line, because the thing that is going to break through tanks is Yasuo. Gives that Vayne time, and we get another win. The win streak continues. We're at 6.
Yeah, it's also big that Khroen was able to actually get the Rage Blade too, because, while the Zeeks are there to kind of supplement that attack speed, it is still very, very nice. It's still going to be, the reason why that Vayne's getting a lot of these wins, and why Khroen is now all of a sudden, tied for top 4 right now between him and Almond. Jedi Mind Tricks down at 2 HP. Unyuki as well. This lobby, again, is so close. I believe Jukyu just bought a Teemo, because they just lost some HP. Crispy Burger trying to hit Yasuo 3 and is now just one away. Hits Sedge 3. Where's the Yasuo 3? And there it is.
It's right here.
It's
Bro, it was
there.
right there.
It's there the whole time.
Yeah. Sedge 3 is an absolutely terrifying beast of a unit, especially with these items on it. So much power from the redemption, and that redemption is going to keep everyone very nice and safe. That's the only reason why that Yasuo lives as long as it does, but it's the secondary Yasuo. So we have the we have the other Legionnaires doing okay. Common Quail going to take the L there as Rabadons, Hodge, Runins. Gonna be the itemization on the Yasuo this time around.
Yeah, Jedi Mind Tricks goes 8th, unfortunately. Not able to contest that top 4. But it's gonna make the rest of this lobby that much more intense. Crispy Burger, of course, just hit everything for Nightbringer, for Legionnaires. This Yasuo board is so nice. You were just talking about the items as well. The items are not like best in slot, but they are still like very good. The Hodge, the Runans, but neither rating item is on the Yasuo. The Death Cap is serviceable. It does give a lot of AP, which Yasuo scales very nicely off of. So it's going to be decent, and it's going to potentially be lobby winning. Khroen, though, has not lost a round. I believe it's now 7 rounds.
Whew. Okay, so and what's actually really nice is this particular comp is outside of the Yasuo, right? It's going to be the Yasuo's job to get to the vein, but the Sejuani at Sejuani 3 is not going to look like a Sejuani 3 with that true damage, right? On the vein with triple Zeeks and Rage Blade. So like you said, like the second we get to our Ranger buff, we're almost pretty much fully stacked. So feeling pretty good about it. 6 people still remaining. Or 7 people still remaining.
Yeah, 7 even. It's pretty crazy as we get closer to stage 6. Now into Jukyu, who has Assassin Gwen. She's going to be doing so much damage, and actually still alive. Can't check out the Yasuo 3, though. I'm not so sure she's going to be able to do that. It is a tall task. Yasuo cleaving through everything. The Draven gets Thresh hooked. The Draven from Jukyu is still alive with 1 Rage Blade. Not enough. Takes a hit. It has 50 gold, though. Jukyu's going to level to 9.
Okay.
Very soon, but who's going to be eliminated this round, if anybody?
Because what we've seen in the past, we level the 9 and re-roll and we don't hit anything. And that comp got wrecked just then. So definitely look off to the side. Elmon gets that Viego 2. Trickster's now going to be who we're riding along with. Hasn't really changed that comp since we were there last time around. And from bottom to top, like we're pretty much exactly where we've been for the last 3 lobbies, right? 14 HP on the bottom, 32 at the top, 18 HP separating everybody. That's literally just 1 or 2 rounds. 2 people on fire in the middle of the lobby right now. So really take a look at Tricksters and Khroen and see where you think they might end up. This is actually a really great 1v1 right now because only 1 person will remain on fire. And this Vayne has avoided Diana the entire time it has been on this board, but it is not going to be enough this time as the Aphelios wins out. So that's not going to be like the worst loss in the world, but in this lobby, every point of HP matters as a Common Quail falls in 6th place, opening up a potential upset for that top 3 for Ms. Burger there at the top. And that is not what you want to see if you're a Common Quail, is seeing that Burger sitting on top of the totem pole right now.
Yeah, especially not because the Common Quail is, again, coming as the victor from the last week. It was so close to Common Quail versus Elmon for the top 2 spots. I believe they ended up tying with 25 points, but a Common Quail won the tiebreaker. Now Elmond on the cusp of elimination right now as well. Khroen is up there. Jukyu, I believe at this point, I don't want to call it too early, and I'm not a math person, but might have secured the 1st place already. But it still is the battle for the top 3 at the very least. Crispy Burger trying to get in there as well. We're 4 points behind the Common Quail coming into this. And they might be able to achieve 4 points higher than a Common Quail in just this lobby. This is getting real intense here, Boop. Ooh, Akshan 2? Okay, Trickster. 5 win streak. Might be the strongest player in the lobby.
Juke doing great, like you said. We top 4 is a lock, but second and third still getting fought out right now. Elmon can compete. Frodan is definitely competing. A common Quail is the one that is having a little bit of a hard time right now, as the Shojins on the team are going to try to help win this out. So much tankiness on that Sejuani. That Sejuani is going to be so hard to eat through with the true damage on that Yasuo. It's over for that Teemo. Man.
All right. Juki 1 HP. But I'm looking at it right now, and 1 HP, if he goes out in 5th, would be 4 points. And that means that they're at 30, so Frodan could not catch up. Juki has clinched it. It is the battle, however, again, for the top 3. Almon at 3 HP, Trickster at 8, Frodan at 11. Oh man, it could be so impactful for so many of them there between 2nd and 4th.
Okay, Aphelios sitting in the middle of the convergence right now versus Almon's Aphelios in the corner. Double radiant item on that one is going to res 2 full. I don't know if the Bloodthirster will get reprocced on the second life. Probably not. But it might not even make it to that second life, because if Aphelios is doing well, right, the Bloodthirster is working, and it looks a lot like this.
Elmond.
And Elmond going to take the Aphelios matchup this time around, eliminate Tricksters, and we have a top 4 as Juke finishes in 5th. Okay, we've got the top 3 right now. It is a reroll Vayne. It is Elmond's Aphelios and Crispy Burger's Yasuo. Aphelios gonna get second again.
Oh man, it might. A couple of reroll compositions. The first couple of games of the day, we didn't really see any. Now people are like, "Hey, reroll is open. Let's do it and get rewarded for it." Crispy Burger.
Didn't I say that? Just saying.
Yeah, I mean, called it. There you go, Boop.
Oh man, I needed a little bit of ego feed apparently. So Elmond at 3. That's Frodan. At 2:16 for Crispy Burger, who actually might have done, I think a second or first might be enough to get that top 3. The tier 3, the Viego is going to take him out. Actually, Draven pushes them out of the way. Yasuo going to keep themselves alive. It's going to be the Ghost losing here, and it's now Frodan who won that last round. So as we got the top 2, remember Frodan was at like 20-something HP, at the 29 HP at the Stimmy.
Yeah. And look at this top 2.
Yep. Has lost 2 total times, and 2 of those were late game losses that only took like 9 or 10 total HP away. So very good work. That's probably the hardest work Frodan has done in terms of, getting to the bottom, getting to the top, coming up with that Vayne. Was thinking about it the whole time, was re-rolling it, started with 3 Vaynes from literally round 2 on the PvE round, and then got the 3 Zeeks, played it very well, and now potentially getting that lobby win. I think this Yasuo comp is pretty scary, so we'll see what happens there. But it's Yasuo versus Vayne, something we don't get to see very often, so enjoy yourselves, friends.
It comes down to how much time the Vayne is allowed. Now with double Runan, Sumi adding another bolt to it, she can take down multiple units at once. Can start getting onto that Yasuo early. It's not going to be on the side of the Yasuo, though. And Diana jumps into the clump. That Frozen Heart going to be doing a big, oh, so much value. She's still alive. Diana's just in there. Attack speed slow into the Vayne. It might allow Yasuo enough time to come forward, as Diana gets another cast off as well. Diana won with 2 casts, and that's going to be enough. Crispy Burger takes down Frodan for the lobby win. And that might be getting Crispy Burger into the top 3 or top 4. We'll have to see. But what a last fight that was actually just a Diana positioning diff there. If that Diana was not allowed 1 or 2 ults there, taken out faster, or maybe a swap from Frodan on the end of it, could have gone the other way. Super close.
Yeah, that triple Zeeks decision for that Vayne comp was absolutely insane. Got the Rage Blade, got to top out on that attack speed. But yeah, super impressed by those 3 points. And you know what? It's really great to see Frodan continuously find that success in those last couple lobbies. So really great stuff. That should be a second. First place
so.
should be Jukyu, but third is going to be interesting. It's actually Crispy Burger
Yeah, wow.
who finishes in third place. And Crispy, she played so well in those two lobbies, second place and first place. So Crispy Burger is going to find themselves coming back next week. A Common Quail, unfortunately, matching their experience the last team around, and is going to get in fourth place.
Wow, yeah, the whole top 3 of last week getting 4th, 5th, and 6th, like, still had some good results in some of their games, had top 4 multiple times, but it just wasn't quite enough to compete with our top 3. Again, Jukyu, Khroen, and Crispy Burger. What a night of games. You know, set 5.5 is slowly nearing its end, but the competition, especially with this new patch, is still heating up, still proving that you got to be on top of your game, especially with the new Radiant Armory, you know, at 5-1 coming into play. That just adds such a unique and new element into TFT, and honestly, it's a lot of fun. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, those lobbies were all so stressful. 3 of them at the end, a couple times where bottom to top only separated from 15 HP, for example. So, you know, lots of opportunities for people to make mistakes.
Yeah.
Right. And so the people who are able to clean that stuff up the most and play intentionally, they're going to be doing the best in situations like this. And, you know, the top 3's consistent play outside of Crispy, who did top 2 and top 1, really goes to show that. But that 3 Zeeks on Varus is one of my favorite plays that I saw today.
Definitely 3 Zeeks on the Varus. Hello, we're going to have our interview ready. Juke, congratulations on winning Fight Night Rising.
Wow, thanks so much. Happy to play here. I've been waiting for a tournament, all set.
Waiting for a tournament, you get your chance, and you come out of the gate swinging. I mean, getting your first. How are you feeling after that one? How is your, prep, led you to this moment?
I mean, obviously we know that it's a patch day, or one day after the patch day. So I was playing on my Smurf. It's still Challenger, so it's there's enough practice there. It started off rough. I lost 150 LP right off the bat. And then I gathered myself, reset my mental, and went back in last night and sort of played, like you said, intentionally. And it sort of went well, and so I came in today a lot more confident than I was at the beginning of the patch. Yeah.
Definitely. Sometimes, you sacrifice an LP on the ladder to come in tournaments and do very well there. You learn a lot. Ladder, serves many purposes. But also, talking about this patch, is there anything about this patch that you specifically, like? I mean, there's the second Radiant Armory, there's a little Legend Scouting, there's kind of everything in between. What have been your favorites here so far of this new patch?
Honestly, the toughest thing for me has been the lack of rerolls, because so the way I like to play the game is I try to identify as early outs as possible. And usually that means reroll, right? If you see a good opening for reroll, then you take it. It's kind of like if you've been watching the ladder, Casper Wu rising to the top, and he's got every game, or 7 out of 10 games reroll, right?
Yeah.
That's the way I like to play the game last patch. But this patch is a lot tougher. You can't rely on that. I don't know if there's any specific thing that sort of popped up. I guess there's a lot more draconics, right? I remember my first game of the patch at 4 players in the lobbies were playing draconic, and you got these crazy late games. One thing I haven't gotten to play yet is 3-star Ash, but that seems really fun.
We got to see a little bit of it today. I think it won the lobby.
No, actually, I beat it with 3-star.
Oh, that's right. That's right. It was the 3-star Draven, 3-star Jax lobby, with Jax getting third place. That's right. So what I wanted to ask you is, just like kind of Khroen alluded to, we've got a lot of different changes. With the second Radiant item, which kind of, for those of us who are still kind of learning, which kind of comps do you think that benefits the most, having a second Radiant item?
So I'm gonna give not so much of a hot take, but a new take. I've heard a lot of people talk about dual carries. I think it's actually more support items. You can build a lot more support items now. It used to be, if you remember set 4, or actually maybe it was set 5, not 5.5. There were so many items. There were so many items that you could build a lot of support items. And at the transition of set 5 to set 5.5. They cut down the number of items from the armories and whatever, and you ended up with 6 items exact basically every game, right? And that meant you had 3 items for your tank and 3 items for your carry, and you didn't really have much left over for your for support items. I think this patch, you have so many more items you can make support items. So in my Draven game, I actually only had an IE Hodge on my Draven until I got Last Whisper off of Dragon. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so my last question to you is in these lobbies, right? Something that I think was kind of the theme was they were all close. Right? They were legitimately all like I think 3 lobbies came within like 15 16 HP from top to bottom at one time. Do you find yourself playing better in those intense situations, or do you want to kind of be able to pace the rest of the lobby yourself?
I think if it's not that no, I don't like being in that situation for sure. But I think if you've been playing intentionally the whole game, once you get to those spots, like if you've been positioning all of stage 4, by the time you get to stage 5, the positioning comes a lot easier. You can spot the weaknesses everywhere, or not everywhere, but like you can spot a little bit of weakness here and there to exploit, and then you end up winning those close lobbies. So you hear a lot of players complain about, oh, these lobbies come down to like matchmaking, RNG, whatever. But I think it really comes down to having positioned carefully throughout the whole game.
Love it. Khroen, take us out, my friend.
Definitely. I mean, it's been a blast to have you on, Juku. Congrats once again on your win. I'm going to give you some time for any shout outs. Where can we find you if you, stream or on Twitter or anything of that sort?
Honestly, I don't really stream. I guess shout out to I have a couple of friends who I play with a lot. Milo, TFT Milo, if you see him in Twitch chat sometimes, and then some other guy who doesn't actually play that much anymore. Also, my best friend, that's like a spicy meatball or spicy meatballs. Sort of having this community around me really helped me get through the tough patches where it was like, oh, I feel bad at this game. I don't know what to do in this game. I'm lost. But having like people to talk to and like sort of grind through it and then finally figure out the patch, that's what keeps me in this game. Yeah.
Oh, definitely. That's so great to hear. We all have our rough points in TFT, patches to patches, but have our friends, our community who are here with us and, keep us going. So love to hear that. Congrats once again, Juki, and we will see you here next week to defend your title.
Yeah, love it.
All right. That's going to be it for this one, Boop. And I like that insight as well. I think there definitely have been a lot of times where, players do well, but then times where they don't do so well. And it's hard to get through that always on your own. It is nice to have other players, other practice partners. Like, I think you'd ask about like practice partners and referred to that a lot of times for players as well. And having that obviously is a big benefit.
Yeah, there is something. Okay, so the thing that I like to talk about when it comes to this is sometimes you're doing something well, right? Because the results are good, but the only information you have is just your own knowledge. When someone else is like, no, like this is really good, or no, you should be upset, right? For some reason, that feels so much better, and it is cool that people are utilizing that kind of support within TFT because there's a lot of those. It seems like there's always groups of 3. Right, going around.
Like there was another group of 3 that Joe just talked about there.
Yeah, exactly. So like, everyone has their groups of 3. I think the most famous one from a couple sets ago was like Pokygom and like Noster and Goobums, I believe. But the overarching theme is like this is an individual game that has created friendships and community, which is so cool and one that I feel very special to be a part of. And they're gonna make it official. You're gonna have to officially commit to someone.
True.
Next set. So these groups of 3 might be getting some tension there. I don't know who's going to be the other person. Y'all will find out. But today was an awesome day. Those lobbies were all close. All did something super cool, whether that be a tier 3 4 cost unit or, watching Draconic kind of pop off. So, yeah, pretty crazy day today.
Definitely a fantastic day of games. We will have some more next week as, set 6 is on the horizon. Not quite yet, though. I'm excited for it. I know all you are excited for it, and we will get there. Trust me. It'll be here before you know it. But until next time, it's been Khroen and Boop bringing you Fight Night Rising, brought to you by Wisdom. Until next time, take care and have a good night.